Alright, I think this is about the best we can get. I remember it having the borders, if I'm not mistaken. Each traveler sees with different eyes. Let's continue. What's the Windy Meadow? Oh, no, website. We don't do websites. Continue. Right, let's see here. We were at the inn. Let's see. Step aside. So, spot on the ground. That's our horse. You have the clinking of tools, coming for armor. I think we're done. Why don't we go to the well? The recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain, birds, when the guards are doing a cold drink. And tells you to use only as much water as necessary. Okay, I think we did all that. I think we're done. That's probably a good idea. Let's see here. Okay, quite a lot here. Man had broken the truce with local villagers. I gotta go to Hallersdale. Okay. I think we travel. I think we're going west. The road uphill meanders, slowing you down, forcing you to pay close attention not only to the shadows of the trees, but also the tight rocky passages. You have noticed a few caves and ambush spots. Keep an eye out for sign of life. Specific Fox. What do you have in mind, Corden? That is Annie Fox. And I believe that is a rest of stream. What do you have in mind? Got anything medieval? What's on the revealed page? I can't remember. It's been so long. It's been a rough. Alright, turn off reset. Oops. Turn off reset. Turn off random. Turn off classic. Turn off that. I mean, we can make one. How about we do like a... I mean, I can make it only like 3 hours. How about I lower the price of it and make it shorter? Okay? So, Corden, I'm going to refund you for what you just picked. And let you pick a different one. And let you redeem this one. Which I'm going to make cheaper. How about I make it 2,000 and it'll just be for like a few hours. Okay, so I'm gonna refund you, Corden. Where do I refund? Review request. I set it for a few hours. Alright. So I'm gonna send that back, and I'm gonna... Yeah, it's Corden, just to redo. Does it have a cooldown? Yeah, redeem the cheaper one, Corden. It's better. Okay, there we go. Alright, now disable that. Alright, so what do you have in mind? So we got Empress and Foxbreaker. There's a picture of all the known Fox outfits on the screen. Let's see, what's medieval? Right, there's the Mikos. Where's the rare? We got Empress. Foxbreaker kind of has armor. Astro Fox kind of looks medieval, but it's Blue Rose dress as well. Here, let me show you those. I'll put this up just so, because if I'm changing the model, you guys can see all of them, including Super Secret. Yeah, I thought we had more. Let's see, where's Empress? Is it with the cape or without? I don't remember. How's this one? We have this one, Empress Fox. We also have, hold on. Are you thinking like medieval, like, you know, princess dress? Like medieval, like, a knight? Foxbreaker? You got it. A minute to go through, and we are good. Foxbreaker. Oh yeah. So you definitely want some like armor. Alright, standing in front of the gate, you hear no voices, no tools at work, no steps, dozens of birds that live among the collapsed roofs. Their fluttering, singing, and squawking is free of worries. If you want to travel any further, you need to ride around the palisade. Searching the ruins may take a lot of time. The broken gate in the north will lead you to the village. The sound of a gentle river reaches you to the east. We see a saggy fence surrounding an overgrown pasture. Beyond the burnt building in the east, you see an oddly barren field. I think we move forward to the town. Let's just explore the southwest part of the village. The buildings in which have collapsed are made of wood, now charred and rotten. You spot claw marks on the walls, especially close to the doors and window frames. They could belong to a dragling or a large wolf, larger than the gray ones, or a corpse eater. Too many options to make a guess. Yet no beast remains in sight. You find the remains of clothes, furniture, odds and ends. Only one object seems to be of use, a basket-like fish trap made of vines and willow branches. If a large fish swims into it, it won't be able to get out on its own. Quite large, but I can fit on my saddle. Let's go to the main square. In every village, the main square is the fanciest area, meant to charm the travelers. Yet this is way more than you expected. The houses are as big as in Havlevin, and the paved ground took a lot of work and materials. The walls, now charred and riddled with holes, are made of an expensive coated waffle. I'm kidding, it says waddle. I don't know what waddle is. Waffle is funnier. They have preserved waffles as the road, as the walls. The tiles for the roofs also had to be brought here from a different settlement. You peek inside the three smaller buildings, the rotting remains of their former splendor. The birds living in dozens of nests respond to your arrival with quite a commotion. You don't find a single dragon bone, nor a tool or piece of furniture left unbroken or unrotten. You're surrounded by bad smells, dirt, animal droppings, and garbage. The well also stinks. It has no bucket, but you'd be afraid to use it anyway. Who knows how many birds have relieved themselves inside, or how many old rats have found their death while climbing up the walls. Suddenly you hear some sounds coming from the largest building. Your stomach makes you let out a painful groan. I should check it out. I prepared my axe. You step cautiously toward the scent of urine and sweat. The flickering candlelight shows you broken furniture, yet no signs of burnt wood. You consider pulling the other door when a masculine voice proves that your presence is not unnoticed. I did not want it to come to this, but stay where you are. Whatever ye put inside, be it a shoe, a hand, or ye damn thinker, it'll get a bolt. Let's be friendly. Relax, stranger, I'm a Roadwarden. And you chose this place to visit from all that there are. Even outlaws don't come here. He pauses, then goes on before you respond. It may be you're telling the truth, so let's say this. My little ballista here is all pulled and ready. But you won't do anything stupid, right? No running, no jumping around. Show your hands. The man's voice lacks confidence, and his accent is tricky for you. He could be from the distant south, but as long as you don't speak too quickly, you understand one another. You don't hear any other movements, breathing, voices. You lean your axe against the doorframe and make sure that your knife is well hidden. Walk inside. The dense smell of urine hits you with full force, while the tools and utensils are hard to distinguish from the rubbish. The route to the upper floor is blocked by the collapsed roof and loose wooden beams. There are scraps of rusting iron and steel on the ground, detached from now destroyed barrels. The scavenger is sitting on a blanket in front of the tent, pointing at the floor with his loaded crossbow. Not a short man, though a bit skinny. He's tanned, dark-haired, and has seen his share of struggles. There are long claw scars on his left cheek, and another one that would divide his eyebrow in half if it hadn't been consumed by a fire, just like the rest of his forehead. His clothes are untainted by vanity. He's barefoot, in a dirty linen shirt with rolled-up sleeves and simple pants that could use a cord for a belt. His long beard and hair are untrimmed and tangled. I sit on the stairs with raised hands. I'm not a threat. You wipe the dust off the steps, but before you sit down, you hear the man's annoyed voice. Now don't get too homey. It's the only place here that's not yet ashes and debris, and I'm not sharing it. You better ride ahead. I already piled up whatever is it hasn't rotten. The candlelights are dancing on his burnt face and arms. He moves his crossbow just enough to make sure he won't shoot you by accident. I saw your horse. Maybe you could help me, What are you looking for in this place? You don't sound like you're from the north. I'm looking for another Roadwarden, a man known as Hysterian. I have never met him. I've surely heard this name many times. He vanished long before I got to the coast. At first people were asking about him, now they think he's dead. Listen. He scratches his thighs nervously. I'm hungry, so damn hungry. I can't hunt or fish with all the ape men around. Can you share anything, Roadster? I may be a drifter. I wouldn't beg if I had not lost my bags on the road. What do I have? I mean, I guess I can give him a little bit. I gave away a food ration. That's how to relieve it. I may even boil it. After a moment of hesitation, he grabs a cracker. Without you, I would have to run after birds with my ballista. I need to save these bolts for the 8 men. Because of those stinkers, I can't roast here, and raw meat makes me want to puke. Thank you. After a couple of solid bites, he puts your gifts in 2 wooden bowls. Now, Roadster, he says with a full mouth. Your questions asked. I'll say a lot to make you get me out of here. Are you sure there are no undead around? He nods. I've seen none. People say it's been less than 10 years since the herds came here. I don't know if anyone bothered with raising the pyres. If not, the dead are roaming in the forest by now. He clicks his tongue with frustration. It may be there's a walker somewhere under the debris, waiting to break through like a dragon in an egg. He looks straight at you. You'd better not dig. I've heard about some bandits. Have you seen any hideouts nearby? No, I think they're in the north, or east. I stuck to the western road, and no shell bothered me. Sorry, I can't help you. Ask him what he wants. Where do you want to travel to now, and what will give you for my help? I was in Hallersdale, the closest village to east and north. People there are nice. Isn't that where we were trying to go? Not like in old Pagos. They're all boring and grimmer than a crow. They cry coin for everything. A damn good coin. I left. Wanted to look around the ruins to see if there's anything left. Then moved to Pelt and hired the hunters to help me here. No luck. A bunch of griffs jumped my packbird. I just bought it. He spits on the floor. Fast and nimble, but not brave enough to listen to me when all that screeching and scratching started. And so it ran away with my bags. A few fell on the ground and I pulled them here. You see how it is. I won't travel around with a tent on my back. He taps the crossbow with his fingers. I need maybe a day more. Aye, just a day. And I have all the iron scrap from the barrels, so I can move forward. I can't take my stuff alone. And without me, all the 8 men are going to break in and steal all my shit. I need to stay here, but since you have a horse, come back tomorrow and help me return to Hallersdale. How about it? Actually, know that the road is safe. Safe as it can be, I mean. What exactly do you want me to do? I need to make sure there's no danger hiding on the road from here to Hallers. Or rather, I know there's some danger. As long as you can get there and safely return, I'm sure we can handle some roaming monsters. He theatrically rubs his hands together. This ballista has hit more beast skulls than I have fingers. And I've never lost a finger, Roadster. Only the toes. Maybe to prove it, he starts to count his fingers. So see if the road there is clear, then come here tomorrow. We'll pack my stuff on your horse and move out. But don't come when it's close to evening. We're going to need 3 hours on our feet, and I won't push through the night. Even sleeping next to an 8-man. Tribe is safer, he chuckles. And don't make me wait for too long. I can wait for a couple days if I find some food. If you don't be back, I'll have to risk it no matter what. Why Hallersdale if you want to go south? We should travel to Pelt to the north. I mean, I see your point. I've never been there. Can they afford my iron? Do they have the means to pay for it? I need coins to find a handy bunch. That will walk south with me, and I need a new staff and bolts. I know the village is a nice place, even has a smithy of sorts. I had a chance to take a look. Though it's a large inn, a safe one, you seem to be rich and have enough hunters to guide you south. You can use iron to barter. Well, sure to pass, I guess. Fewer spots get surrounded by horses. Sure, it's the best option. I don't work for free. Ways to pay you, but don't you worry. I can give you dragons. I have to sell the iron first, so I need a bit of time, you see. 5 for short escort will be plenty, I'd say, but if you want, I'll give you a secret jar of mine. Very fine mixture that scares 8 men away, or works on peddlers, too. Pebblers. When you ask if all this stench of urine is somehow related to the potion, he swings and chuckles. Fine, still, I'm going to escort you. Alright, let's go to... So we need to go to Hallersdale, which is north. How do we get there? I guess we need to go northeast. The tree is partially moved outside. Oh. He's partially moved outside the destroyed houses, but you find nothing of value. The table, cupboards, shelves, and bits and pieces were carefully ransacked. The wildly growing vegetables and herbs are the only remnants of the abandoned gardens. You spot fresh human footprints at the entrance to the latrine, most of which lead to and from the center of the village. You notice a set of simple tools leaning against a pile of rubble. A wooden spade and a shovel, a pointed stick, a hoe with a bone head, a stone axe. All of them are too old and too awkward to bother transporting them around, but you know where to find them if you need them in the future. Why am I sick? I walk far away from the walls. You go outside, keep your mouth shut. After a few minutes, your eyes get clearer. You better at least stay away from the village for the rest of the day. Alright, let's return to the southern gate. Move forward. Where can I travel? Still can't travel. Horses built near the field. Broken logs and planks are charred. Well, the wooden walls are rotten and covered in moss. You know ash or dust, proving the fire happened long ago. It smells awful and there are no reason to stay for long. You see no furniture, some broken shelves, just storage room. Valuable odds and ends were already taken by scavengers. The palisade is in good shape, and the entrance wasn't even touched by the fire. It was torn away and possibly thrown. The amount of used force must have been huge, but you'd expect they would push the gate into the village, not away from it. You don't see any marks of a dragon bite. A troll could toss such planks, but after so many years, you see no paw prints. A mage? You can't really tell. How do I leave? Okay, you don't find a single sign of the livestock lived here in the past. Any bones, horns, antlers, or dung have already been devoured by the wilderness. The pasture ends at the river. On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. What are the chances that a herd of defenseless animals could get there and survive? You reach in the southern fence wasn't made by some brute force. You find axe cuts in the spots. They were ultimately broken away. After all these years, there are no tracks you could follow. Turn the main road. Gotta clear this place somehow. Okay, the tracks of human footwear and many more ape footprints cover the path formed around the Palisades breach. As far as you can tell, the freshest footprints lead to the village. The wooden stakes spread on the ground are rotten, covered in mushrooms, small flowers, insects, and worms. A good source of animal or goblin food, they expect them to also hunt for the birds and eggs. The meadow in the west turns into a forest quickly. The grasses in the north are surrounded by dozens of tree stumps, already covered in moss and fungi. Shouldn't enter the forest, especially not in this area. It's unpredictable. Clearing to the west. The meadow is lush and colorful, and so dense it's unsafe for a rider. At Daffy, for a couple minutes she leads Toto with a rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case of a hoof falling into an animal den. Being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They were most likely planted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals. Though cutting so many trees at once, that alone could provoke the wrath of the herds. Such a process should be spread across a couple seasons. You can't be sure that was the case. In the west and north, the clearing turns into a wild forest, and east you see a road leaving north. Alright, let's go to the road. At the closed northern gate. The road is partially overgrown. You hear a river in the east separated by a lush meadow, filled with crickets and rodents. Push or pull didn't move an inch. Someone has spread dirt and rocks both underneath it and around it. They may keep the plank stuck in the ground. Head to the river. You see a quenching family of boars, some of them brown, some black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. After a couple of grunts, they run north. The river is not too wide, yet unusually deep. I thought so. With banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries, the water is cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You would rather avoid jumping inside or drinking from it, but attempt to at least wash your face, neck, and hands. Dozens, if not hundreds of small fish are looking for tasty leaves, but also try to avoid their predators. A dance of life completely unaware of your presence. You suddenly realize there's something else buried among the kelp. A rusty sickle sticking out of the ground, a couple stone axes and hoes. The wood handles are long, and a large wagon are covered with moss, but you recognize their shapes. Oh, someone dropped them here. On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. Turn back. Okay, we can travel now. You enter the wetlands. There are many streams, ponds, and fish. Large birds run and fly between the gray, sparse trees that are covered with moss, mushrooms, and critters. For a human, it may be unwelcoming and harsh realm, but overwhelming swarms of insects prove it's a realm full of life. The danger with teeth and claws is hidden beneath the water surface. Stay away. Hi, Doubled Halo. Medieval detective. This plant shouldn't be alive, not without leaves. It doesn't resemble the other trees of the wetlands. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants, and it smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water surface. You don't see any saurians in the grasses or on the shore. You approach the table-like altar, made of 3 limestone slabs. Were these rocks originally as formless as they are now, or is there a point in time centuries ago when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There's no way to tell. Sottle is peacefully observing the dark grass and slapping flies with its tail. Whatever it is you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion sees the place through very different eyes. I smile and scratch the bottom of its neck. Go ahead, I'll look around for just a moment. Don't see any creatures nor any humans. I approach the altar. There's clumped dirt and uneven nicks, fused by years of winds and rains. The bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spiderwebs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. Hi, Arya. I'm doing well. How are you doing? The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even by an inch. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. I'm just going to walk away. Look into the water. You step cautiously. Without knowing how deep it gets, you have to consider that a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. Since you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge a potential strike. Once you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it's also shallow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, and even small fish. All of them stay away from the tree roots, which look like a spider web covering the bottom of the pond. Aside from that, you don't see anything that would catch your attention. Alright, let's keep going. Why couldn't we go north? Wasn't there a road north? This doesn't matter. You slow down. Among the shrubs, a small pack of dragonlins is featuring on the carcass of a grey auroch. One of them, with red feathers on its arm, straightens up and gives you a curious glance. Its head tilts left and right, forward and back. It screeches at you, but doesn't move forward and returns to its meal. You wonder what would happen if you were on foot. Would they let you be, satisfied with their prey? Or would they run after you? But if so, for what reason? For now, you have enough space to move forward, yet stay safe. The powerful jaws break the monster's bones loudly, then bite off and swallow chunks of meat. I ride forward but keep my distance and look over my shoulder. Chest will be in, it's gonna be about 3.5 hours or so. The beaten road serves your paw well. The forest to your left becomes sparse and brighter, and there are dozens of human-made paths amongst the fruit-bearing trees. On your right, there's a large pasture, with at least a dozen massive mouflons. 2 of them, already sheared, look comically small. Soon after that, you ride alongside vast, flourishing fields filled with rye, still green, preparing itself patiently for the second harvest. The path ends with a massive wooden gate. The stone wall, separating you from the glow of lights behind it, isn't as tall as the roofs, but you can't imagine climbing to its top. There are pretty much no cracks, no missing bricks, a sign of many hours of labor, especially considering how massive the settlement is, as wide as the city district. The birds and monkeys are now just a distant echo, replaced with the sounds of carts, running, hammers, saws, laughter, and shouts. Finally, maybe I can rest here. A young man is leaning against a closed gate, covered by its shadow. He's young, tanned, and has a short, elegantly trimmed red beard. Beneath the green gambeson he wears an expensive tunic, decorated with colorful trim. From his arms hang a steel helmet, though its metal is so thin that it's mostly made of wool and leather. He moves to the light and takes on the posture of a disciplined soldier, not a mercenary. He's standing upright, with his chin up. There are 2 weapons on the ground, leaning on the wooden beams of the gate, an axe made of steel and a wooden club. He doesn't reach for either. You dismount smoothly, still having some vigor left. Saddle holds his tail high. A narrow path leads to the north, toward 2 field workers, one with a hoe and one with a pitchfork. They wave to you. You can't see their faces, but their clothes are simple, gray pants and vests made from hemp and wool. I wave back. Why not? They talk for a bit, looking towards you and pointing at your mount, then walk away, disappearing behind the wall's corner. The guard smiles, yet avoids your eyes, and has to clear his throat before he speaks. Welcome, traveler. If you're here to make trouble, Hallersdale welcomes you. We have the widest flower there is. When he bows, you realize it is a well-practiced performance. If it's new garments you're looking for, you can order everything you need right here, in all colors, shapes, and sizes. Capes, boots, vests... I can't talk. Capes, boots, vests, robes. Or if you're yourself a master of the needle, I can assure you we have the fabric you're looking for. His act is over and he glances at your mount in a moment of silence. His eyes get wider as he observes it with childlike fascination. I'm Fox, your new Roadwarden. I want to see your mayor. A city folk, the mayor is busy, but I'll ask her. Give us a moment to let you in. He knocks at the gate, which is then pulled inwards by 2 other guards, a man and a woman, wearing their own gambesons, similarly green, but tailor-made to match their figures. The nearby buildings are simple houses made of wooden beams and covered with thatch, while the storehouse is even more modest, with a roof made of planks. The watchtower has a ladder made of ropes and sticks, no stairs. Just give me a moment. The guard strides away before he finishes the last word. The others close the gate behind you and observe your mount carefully. Your eyes run east to a humming creek running through the center of the village. I wait for the return of the messenger. Calming sound, That's Howler's Creek. The guard, like most of the locals, is taller than you. I mean, most people are. Wide but shallow. There's nae been a flood in years. Pa told me there used to be nae bridges. Neighbors crossed it with their boots in their hands. It is clean like a raindrop, but there are nae many fish. We're the cleanest village in the north. Her companion chuckles brightly. When the guard returns, he's still alone. Oh, thank you. But don't worry, I'm vicious. I'm very vicious. She can come now. A friend of mine is in labor, aye? The mayor wants to be there when the child arrives, but I was asked to show you the village. I nod. Fine. He approaches the watchtower. Tie your mount here. We'll keep the kids away. Most of the neighbors are getting ready to celebrate. Once you're done, he grabs the rope ladder. The view from up there is gorgeous. I climb up after him. Even though the ladder swings in all directions, the guard gets to the top quickly, like a monkey. Climbing up creepers. You, on the other hand, need to stop and wait for the ladder to calm itself. When you join the man on the wooden platform, you're a bit dizzy. He's leaning on the wooden parapet, observing the area with a smile. I look around. See, there's no place like Hallersdale. The guard points in every direction, giving you no time to contemplate. The next few minutes he describes the fields and their crops, the flocks and the pastures, and the shepherds inspecting the fences. The ancient garden of trees and bushes, larger than the village itself. The sunlight dancing on the stream to its own tune. If you are to believe everything he describes, this place has access to everything in abundance. Sweetest honey, the most fragrant bread, the softest wool. In the beer, 'tis excellent. He sounds like a city merchant who's trying to sell an old house. Let's be nice. Nobody's so proud. Who wouldn't be? They've tamed this scrap land and live in comfort. One. The islet to the middle connects both parts of the village. According to the man, the northern gate is hardly ever opened, as it leads nowhere now. Near the eastern gate, there's the Ape Ale Inn, where you can find a bed and victuals. In the stall where a Kekios rewards our work, unless we annoy him with pointless talk. He lets out a chuckle. On the opposite side of the creek, there's another white house. It belongs to Bion, the best clothier in the north. The priests live in the southeast, near the wall. But they do not talk to strangers. You also hear about the hunter, the cooper, the fisher, the miller. The pie maker lives with his sister, the baker. Isn't a pie maker just a baker? I don't know. The smith and her husband, the carpenter, live with their kids. Some of the larger buildings could accommodate 2, maybe even 3 generations at once. There could be more than 100 dwellers here. You consider stopping his speech, but he suddenly points at the islet again. There, see? The mayor's coming, the one wearing purple. You're free to join her, traveler. I nod and climb down. You try to get down quickly, but 2 steps are enough to make you sure it's a bad idea. You wait for the ladder to find its balance. You're relieved when you touch the ground again. You untie your palfrey and follow the guard. You pass a small pasturage surrounded by a wooden fence, a few loose chickens, and a tethered boar. The fancier buildings are covered with whitewash coating and surrounded with vegetables, herbs, and flowers. The bridges are wide enough to carry even a wagon, but for Saddle, walking on the wooden beams is far from pleasant. The islet is empty, but you notice an empty stall painted with the shapes of colorful flowers. I walk over the second bridge. Along the entire path, you notice more and more people, observing you, smiling, or casually greeting you as they're focused on their own tasks. Finally, you reach the main square. A large tree grows in the center, surrounded by dark water, held together by a thin wall. Perfect for sitting, but the smell coming from the liquid makes you think of rotten eggs. The plant reminds you of the tree you saw in the south, next to the swamp altar. In the north, you see the Ape Ale Inn. Judging by the tables, stools, and benches outside of it, it's open for guests. The villagers are chatting and dining loudly, and you catch their curious glances. On the side of the dining area, the merchant is arguing with a tall, broad-shouldered worker. An old man is sitting by himself, eating a pie, with a walking stick leaning against the table. A young woman is cleaning the empty mugs in the creek, speaking with a man at least twice her age, maybe her father. They need a spot to tether Saddle. There's a wide wooden roof right next to the gate that shelters carts, crates, and sacks. You move your mount next to a donkey, to a beam placed here just for this purpose. Without a moment of hesitation, Saddle starts to chew on the nearby haystack. You have some time to make sure it doesn't struggle with your bundles. You return to the inn. I look for the mayor and approach her. She's sitting on a chair with a 4-year-old boy on her knees. She's holding his hand gently, showing him how to eat gruel from a bowl. It's not a cheap meal, though. You spot nuts, berries, and milk, and the added honey makes it yellowish. The kid is clean and quiet, and once he notices your arrival, he crams his mouth with a spoonful of oats. Now, love, the mayor titters. Do not get distracted. She rubs the meal off his face. A few more spoons and you'll go help Papa in the kitchen, aye? She gives you a radiant, though apologetic smile, then turns her attention back to her companion. I observe her more closely. Her long, full-sleeved linen dress must have been dyed once in blue and once in red to achieve its dark, fancy purple, which would draw looks even in Havlaven. From her left shoulder hangs a green woolen cape, as thin as a shawl. The brown belt on her waist has a large steel buckle that portrays a running deer with unrealistically large antlers growing in all directions like tree branches. Unlike her tribesfolk, she's pale with powdered and rouged cheeks, and her lips match her outfit, though they're a bit closer to wine red. The thick, gray strands in her long blonde hair look more like a fashion choice than the result of aging. Her eyes are the color of her cape, keen and vigorous. She's shorter than most people around, though would still be the tallest woman in most of the northern settlements. While she's around 40, her slim hands add fragility to her appearance, even though her posture is upright. Her legs confidently crossed, and her delicate voice is assertive. She makes plenty of gestures, but her shoulders hardly ever move. I need no invitation. I sit down on the bench. Oh, well. Just a moment, please. She glances at you harshly and puts the boy on the ground. I'm sorry, love, but I need to speak with our guest. Darling, she's just one of the inn workers, a girl close to 15. Take him to father, will you? Her tone suddenly gets firmer, leaving no hint of a question or suggestion. I didn't think she would mind me sitting down, but apparently she did. Yes, Ma, she responds. Both her hair and her eyes are nothing like those of her brother, and neither of the kids resemble their mother. The flowing water hits silently. The rocks and wooden stakes surrounding the aisle splits into 2 stream beds. In Havlaven, the river is surrounded by tall walls, protecting the banks from deterioration, and the water is seldom free of dirt. Here, the smell is as fresh as it would be in the woods. So we have a Roadwarden again. The plant reminds you of the tree you saw in the south, next to the swamp altar. I'm sure you're hungry. My husband will bring us something soon. I appreciate it. Do not mention it. Hunger makes me peevish, and the day is too nice for that. She taps her chest and looks at the flock of birds that fly above you loudly, heading south. As we're waiting, be so good to help me understand something. Even if you're but a mercenary, I cannot imagine a single reason for you to choose this realm for your wardening, nay so long after Asterian's disappearance. These nay glory or treasures to find here. Her pale fingers form a tent on her stomach, then clasp, leaving the forefingers pointed at you. You were sent here by the merchants. They want the peninsula. I think I stick with friendly. I present Havlaven's interest as an opportunity. You introduce yourself and touch on the more obvious sides of the potential deal with the guild and the city chief, the troops, their pay, and the patrols they would establish, the overview of taxes. Trade routes should bring new life to this place. You try to sound warm. It's a win-win. Throughout your speech, the mayor observed you patiently, without interruptions. I see, she finally responds. As she observes your palfrey, she twists her deer buckle, left and right, left and right. If it was that simple, I'd be eager to applaud. But it never is that simple, is it? Her eyes fill up with melancholy, despite her smile. I appreciate that you're coming with a carrot, not a stick. But when it comes to the guild, there's always a catch. Her accent is now almost identical to the one used in the city. I'm telling you everything I know. I can't ask you to trust me, but I'm not hiding anything. Even if I were eager to put trust in the words of a stranger, your honesty has nothing to do with the truth, necessarily. It doesn't put me in an easy position, as you can imagine. Here, listen to this trick I learned about during my studies. She theatrically clears her throat, patting her chest with one hand and covering her mouth with another, then leans forward and rests her elbows, allowing her hands to freely make gestures. You make a deal with a settlement, flour and wool in exchange for coin and tools. You send the first traders, and they imply that you're ready to pay more for, let's say, parchment. Months later, you want no more rye, just the parchment and wool. We can butcher any more mouflons, locals say. Don't worry, you answer. We'll send you a small flock. Just turn one of your fields into a pasturage. As she pretends to speak as different characters, her voice comically shifts, and she has no issue switching between accents. I encourage her with a kind smile. She swings her hand above the table. Another year goes by, and while there's more parchment, the village lacks some crops. This tribe needs not just tools and coins, plenty of coins, but also seeds, and the guild is not satisfied. Sending our wagons costs a lot, and there are more highwaymen now. If you want us to come again, you need more mouflons, and to sell us their cheese. And guess what? With a haunting laugh, she straightens up and spreads her arms, like someone a third her age. Turns out that the village can't say no anymore. They lack supplies, seeds, and land. They can't refuse. I smile. I've no doubt that a smart leader like yourself is going to protect her people from these games. Oh, how wonderful. Keep the compliments coming. No soul in the square reacts to her loud laughter. But all that doesn't mean I can counter every single city ploy on my own. That's the good thing about living here. With these kind people all around us, she nods toward two little girls that are carrying a basket filled with vegetables between them. If some of us struggle, we all have to deal with the consequences. We all struggle, but we all benefit. But Havlin, if they see profit in chopping off our arms, they'll sell them to the first bidder. She gives you a sad glance, but cheers up after a sigh. Let's finish the introductions. I'm Thace, one of the keepers of the Abel Inn, and the mayor of Haller's Dell. I assume it could be convenient for you to take my answers back to Havlin. She wonders for a moment. Say, when can we expect the first caravan? After winter? It depends on what you can sell, and what you want in return. While the conversation goes on, the food gets served. The refreshing aroma of roasted mutton, covered with a thick sauce, made of mint, parsley, and honey, tempts you to bite in right away. The juices are sinking into a round trencher, a plate made of simple, brown bread. There's also a small bowl filled with chopped red radishes, and a sliced boiled egg, and a mug filled with cold buttermilk. It's all brought by a few young people, all of them referring to the mayor as their mother. And in the end, the innkeeper herself shows up to wish you a good meal. He's wearing a clean orange tunic and a not-so-clean apron made of hemp. He politely introduces himself as Eric's, and after confirming you won't get sick from what he prepared, he leaves you and his wife to your conversation. Thace tears the meat into smaller pieces, then eats slowly, often expressing her enjoyment with a hum. Meanwhile, we get to the important stuff. It sounds like the nearby ground is fertile. The village would gladly pay its taxes in grain and vegetables, with the expectation that a squad of soldiers would provide additional protection. Our youth is strong, she claims proudly, so we don't need your guards on our walls, but a lone Roadwarden won't keep the roads passable. We need fighters willing to patrol their paths, maybe even the heart of the woods. That's what we'd expect in return. You're not an expert when it comes to linen, cheese, and wool. The mayor spends a good couple minutes describing the outstanding quality of what the village has to offer, especially the clothes, which are meant to be as unique as those made by Master Crispus. You vaguely recognize his name of this tailor shoemaker, but you never earn enough to pay him for so much as a single sleeve. And of course, we will never reject some steel and bronze. We lack alloys for sickles and scythes. She then repeats her question about starting a trade route. Truth be told, the guild is not sure what the peninsula has to offer. It's going to take more than your village to convince them. Understandable, but you won't find much in other tribes. They barely have enough to survive, even after they trade for our crops. We have the only decent soil in this realm. At least the people of Gale Rocks have salt and barrels of fish, while the Creeks sells meat and wood. Actually, if you haven't been in Creeks yet, the farthest village in the northeast, you could give them a chance. She nods with a smile. They could use your help with keeping their roads safe. White marshes, on the other hand, as well as old Pagos, are close to worthless. For a trade route, that is. She clears her throat. After these words, she stands up and walks to another table, and offers her trencher to an elderly man who sits there by himself. With With a trembling voice, he thanks her, then starts to chew on the soggy bread. She sits down and wipes her hands with a clean cloth, adjusting the folds of her cape, and once again crosses her legs. So tell me, Fox, how's Havelvan? I haven't gathered much news since the invasion. Things stay humble, but are starting to look brighter. The harbor is full of life, and the kids grow strong. I was hoping to hear that. Her smile shines with kindness. I thought they were done for, losing all those ships and getting cut off from so many tribes. I'm surprised the soldiers didn't butcher all the priests and traders to fill their stomachs. It felt so unavoidable that I even came back home, afraid for my life. But I still carry memories of that place, most of them warm. I'm glad the others haven't given up. Her smile fades and she speaks without looking in your direction, giving you a moment of rest. The first time I crossed the city walls and saw the streets, my soul saw them, as if they were made of dragon bones, not stone. All those people, and the noise, and high houses, and this life happening all around me. But after only 2 years, everything collapsed. For the first time in human memory, like a burning dollhouse. She pauses, rests her hands on her stomach, and turns back to you. But don't let me drag you away from your duties. How can I help you, Fox? Let's see. I'm looking for a Asterion. She stares you in the eyes, then turns her saddle. Is your palfrey a mare? We have 2 jackals. 2 Jackson could use some mules. I'm not sure about this one. These men need to stay strong and healthy. Alright, there's no time for romance of draught animals. Take almost a year, correct? It's all just a thought. When her eyes return to you, they regain their sharpness. I'd rather avoid long talks about that man. Let him remain as part of the past, Spring. Since you're asking about him, I can only assume he was indeed sharing his goal with yours. I won't deny that. Yet you're different from him. I like it when travelers don't try to sell me blue grass. Seeing your frown, she waves it off. It's just a saying. His words are stronger than his deeds. He is no longer welcoming her. What were his wrongdoings? If you have to know, he failed, and he won't get a second chance. He was meant to escort Agidia, a daughter of mine, to her betrothed in Gale Rocks. She's a great archeress. I didn't know archeress was a word. I thought it was just archer. I mean, there's lots of visual novels and stuff. And the road from here to the coast is not that dangerous. When they saw goblins on the road, Asterion ordered her to push through, right into their trap. She touches her deer-shaped buckle. They got jumped like a bunch of wealthy pilgrims. A Roadwarden worth their gruel should know better. He can fight with a blade, but my girl, she never had a chance. She sighs and looks at the gate. He disappeared soon after his pitiful attempt at apologizing to me, and we closed our doors behind him for good. I'll let you know if he ever tries to return. Did you ever find your daughter? For a few breaths, her green eyes seek something in your face. Her words are careful yet hesitant. She's with the Fogs now. The goblins were after food, so they carried her shell away. One day she's going to charge at our walls, awoken and empty. Even though she's a bit mawkish, her heart was strong and patient. She listened to people, was ready to help them, and to cry with them. I could tell you stories, but what for? Let the dead rest. Thank you for the help. I wonder, back in Havelvan, did you spend any time in Backwood Corner? It used to be this dark, dirty alley, with muggers, working even in daylight. I stayed there with Octavia, the miller, in exchange for doing chores with her. She had this small wooden hut. I mean, it looks like you pick your, history. It would almost make you feel like you're in the old days. The Boarhead Inn is almost 50 years old now. He explained that while that place is still called the bad part of the city, the Boarhead makes good coin selling beer and ale to students, mercenaries, and adventurers. The whole land may turn wild one day, you quote one of the local traders. The backwood corner will stay the same. You pick your flavor, Lore? Yeah. I like that. She sighs with relief and puts her left hand on her hip. Comforting, don't you think? That there are these places, these dark corners, where you can always find what you expect. Living there, though? That sounds awful, and always was. She chuckles. I bet the thugs of my youth are no longer around, so I wouldn't count on them giving me a free pass. But I wish I could have one more chance to drink a mug or two with the innkeeper once more. The old lady was always too good to stay in that mug. Let's see here. We promised to do this. I was about to know what the innkeeper was uneasy about Claudia's ban. When you mentioned the raids on the northern villagers, her eyes narrow. Are you sure? It's the first I've heard about it. Claudia's been around since years back, but she's not much of a nuisance. I'm just a messenger. He's asking for you to join forces with him. Well, I can't give you my answer. I won't ask our hunters to endanger their lives and pursue some gossip. I can ask around and learn more about this. She sighs with exaggerated relief. What a splendid idea. There are only 3 villages in the north. White Marshes farther north by the western road, Gale Rocks by the northern coast, and creeks in the far east. Bring me news from those places and you will get my answer. I can do that. I mean, we're going there anyway. Tell me, how do people dress in the city these days? Is it similar to what we have here? Before the war, the merchants were wearing those really long dresses and robes. Way too long for my taste. They get mud stains after every rain, and I see no reason to keep the shoes completely hidden. There's always a shortage of fabric. Most people wear tunics like in the old days. I don't like them wearing furs. At least we can hope that if visitors arrive, won't stand out too much. She laughs, but also adjusts her dress, drawing your attention to its superb quality. And who knows, maybe our little village here is going to help those unfortunate clothiers. I'm sure we could spare a couple sheets of fabric. What do you think about the scavenger who was here before? Ah, he's still alive, she says with distaste. He brought us some news from the north and paid off his debt to us. But he's an idler and a prattler, drinks too. The farther he stays away from here, the better. Have you heard of the necromancer to the north? She taps her fingers on the table. Yes, I have. After you ask her to tell you more, it seems to regain her confidence. You mean White Marshes for sure. I don't know all that much about what's happening there. We avoid their lands if we can. She frowns. I shouldn't gossip about it with strangers. We can talk about it on another occasion. What would it take to make you consider... Let's see, I was in the ruined village south from here. Her tense gaze shifts into an awkward click of her tongue as she leans away from you. I don't even want to think about their tragic fate. No one can negotiate with the wrath of their herds. A long pause. And I better not find you upsetting my neighbors with these sad questions. It was a challenging time for all of us, a wound we won't forget. Saw a weird tree south from here, the one with the altar standing in front of it. She straightens up and raises her chin. You mean Beholder, the guardian spirit of our wetlands. Every fall we bring it our gifts, and in return it provides us with blessed fruit. The flesh of the forest. She stares into your eyes. It's older than the oldest books and the oldest thoughts. The druids help us honor its sleep and show us how to ask for its help. Neither of these rituals, she scoffs, would be of use for you. Okay. Do we want to rest? I mean, we still got 7 hours. Even though the counter stands outdoors, it's not rotten or dirty. But she gets this like the other furniture is brought inside every night. Eric's approaches you with a smile and leans on the surface with his fist. He's portly and even taller than his neighbors. He's got freckles, short gray hair, and an elegant beard. His long, woolen orange tunic has a decorative cut right under the neck, and loose braids at the edges. How can I help you, traveler? His accent is heavy, nothing like his wife's. He stomps with a heavy boot and looks around, as if he's just waiting to get back to his other tasks. His fingers are still dirty from weeding the garden. Any rumors to share? Rumors? Not really. I have my own things to worry about. Neighbors keep their own company. Better for everyone to seek help from my wife or the forest speakers. Nay, a mug of ale. I could use a room. Ma keeps it cleaner than you find in the city. Just tell me when you're ready. Right, let's go talk to the trader. The man behind the counter is inspecting a sack of white flour, mumbling to himself and occasionally cursing. The other locals walk away, giving you space to talk trade in peace. Weevils, he points. I thought I had a mess. For some reason, I thought I had the water fox up. He points to the dark blue insect that he's trying to flee. Shit me fire 'twas ground a few days ago. Nay pies for us tomorrow, looks like. He puts the sack on the ground. I'll take care of it later. The Roadwarden, aye? Even the mayor cared enough to see you. And kids are lining up to look at your horse. Strangers like ghosts to them now. He's wearing a simple brown robe with no hood, a rope instead of a belt, and modest trim of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it's way too large for him and hangs from him like a bag. He looks like a poor vendor from Hovleven. He stands sideways to you with legs crossed. Hydrate, you got it. I'm definitely trying to stay hydrated on this one. There's a lot of reading. With legs crossed, leaning on the counter with one hand and keeping the other on his hip. He's around 40, short and a bit greasy, with a humble beard and hair. His fingers are unusually long. Make a joke. You a trader, I assume? I guess we'll see each other often. For you, a trader. For my neighbors, the treasurer. Named Kikios. Everyone brings here what they have in abundance, and I either sell it to travelers or divide it among the workers, builders, artisans. These things here are only mine. He runs his eyes over the crates and barrels. I can show you our wares if you want. But do not ask me for better prices just because you're a traveler. I need to explain myself for every deal I make, or Thace will laugh at me all the way to the pyre. Do I have anything worth selling? I do not. What can you tell me about Asterion? Even though he was here more than once, he didn't leave much behind. Smelly hoarder. He looks around and spits on the ground. At least he bought a blade for me. Do you remember what blade it was? Sure. It was a special one. A sickle sword with a tip wider than it was at the grip. Longest from fingertips to shoulder. Knee a sword, knee a knife, single-edged. Brought his own steel to melt for it. What's it good for? Fencing? More for cutting bushes, creepers, roots. It will nay fell a tree, but 'tis a fine tool. He nods to a passerby, but his smile disappears so quickly as it showed up. Pathfinders use it. My pa used to have one as well. He chopped nuts with it. Nuts and mouflons, so he took it to the wilderness. He shrugs pretty much anywhere. There are hills from here to the coast, and bogs in the north. In the heart of the woods, can they help you with it? Do you need help? I could use a job. You know what? This is something urgent. I need medicament from my daughter. Not that she's hurt or anything. He raises open palms as to show that he's not holding a knife. She's a teen, wants to start hunting in the woods. I can need teach her too much, but I'd sleep better with her having a healing potion. If you have, he hesitates. Almost 9 days. Bring me the potion before the last dusk, and I'll pay you 5 dragon's rings. We're gonna find such a potion. I can think of 2 places. The safer bet is beyond Old Pagos, on the mountain of the crazy monks. Crazy and boring. More boring than a mouflon. They often brew with Numa. You could also head south, east of the crossroads, behind Pell to the north. I've never been there myself, but you'll find a dolmen there, the oldest city. And this... He reaches for his clinking pouch and pulls out a massive iron key. It's meant to open some secret passage there. Right, I'll look at it. Okay. We can talk to the local priest. You head south of the dead trees in the main square. Before you get there to the second thatched building, a large man stands up from a bench and gets in your way. He's close to 50, taller than most people you've seen in your life, broad-shouldered. His hair and short beard are brown, matching his elegant woolen robe. A thick club is attached to his right wrist with a leather strap. He left his sandals by a sitting spot. Many want to speak with our guides and teachers. He speaks with a solemn, strong voice. But you're no welcome here. Turn back, stranger. I'm your new Roadwarden. Are you sure that no soul here needs my assistance? His harsh look softens. We can handle ourselves. If that changes, Elpis will summon you. So be it. I turn back. Go to Beyond the Tailor. I don't have any money. You follow the guard's directions and reach the whitewashed building standing on the western bank next to a small garden of flowers and herbs. It's well kept and clean, with a plain beaten front yard, in parts covered with sand. Through the open windows, you catch a glance at the furniture, made of smooth, almost shiny wood, with hints of dark cherry-like red, decorated with carvings of plants. A woman in her 40s is sitting on a wooden bench. The table is covered with fabrics, threads, and needles made of bone and iron. She's sewing a long sleeve to what's going to become a blue tunic. Her movements are quick and confident. Her brown, wavy, shoulder-length hair is tied into a wreath-like braid. But other than that, her clothes are simple and inconspicuous. She doesn't have a left leg, but you don't notice any cane. You observe her for a few moments until, without sparing you so much as a glance, she encourages you to speak with a grunt. Looking for a tailor. You found one. Her voice is low, and she doesn't stop her work. Name's Beyond. Can you ask a couple questions? Boredom in her voice is palpable. I'm Nea Bard. Alright, good luck. Alright, main square. I think we're done. I wonder if we can go... I can't remember which way we need to go. We'll go this way. We'll look around a bit. The path gets greener and meanders between treacherous precipices. You ride slowly, passing by birds and ibexes. In the distance you spot circling harpies, and below you a roaming mountain cat pursuing a mouflon. You take a sip from your water skin. The air here is a bit dry. Oh, yeah, I can check my journal. Mostly, I just want to, like, burn a little bit of time and then go back to town, rest there, go back here, escort him somewhere, and then... Anyway, let's hope the Echoes won't reach any larger beast. The path leads you down again, to a small, moist valley, impenetrable for a rider. The thicket is made of thorny shrubs, tall grasses, and the weak, fallen boughs that nourish mosses and mushrooms. You examine the remnants of a path covered with greenish puddles. Without the roots and with fresh layer of pebbles, it may still be restored. You look behind you. The road is clear, no ambushes so far. But if you hope to clear this place, it's better to do so soon and only get denser over the past 2 days. It should be done in 2 hours or so. Oh, there went my nourishment. Your muscles not used to such tiring work grow tired quickly, so take a few short breaks, avoiding the thorns and dirty water. When it comes to pushing aside the boughs, you breathe heavily, but you only need enough space to let your palfrey get through. Maybe the animals start roaming this place again, beaten path. You reach a convenient mountain pass with crags smoothed out by centuries of rain and wind. The sun warms up both the vegetation and the beaten road, and the only beasts you spot are loud rooks, glancing at you from the rocks and branches. Clearing the rockside would take hours of work and a large group of people, while forcing Saddle to climb up and down could break his legs. I think I want to turn back. You climb up the rocks, having plenty of spots to rest your hands. Most of them won't move an inch. As you get close to a small dead tree, you notice something odd among the stones. A piece of old fabric, completely covered with mold, most likely the remains of a tunic. Let's go back here. Alright, getting late, better look for a space. Since you must saddle, but before you reach the square, someone clears his throat. Turn to a man in his 50s with large hands and an elegant beard and no hair, the stablemaster. He He both interests himself and answers your unspoken question. You frown and realize you indeed saw him before, and your prophet is nicely taken care of during your first village to village. Rather, I'm the one tis necessary, but I'd rather grind flour. This annoyance. You do not think your beast waters itself, brings itself fodder from a storehouse and cleans its own shit, nay? Takes in time and hay. If 'tis, he wants your command is nae going to work for it. You better have a pouch in hand. You look behind you. The stable is not much more than an open shed with piles of planks, 2 donkeys, and a bunch of napping chickens. Would a dragon bone be enough? He nods. For one day, aye, that's fair. I'm broke. My mount needs only some hay, water, and peace. He scowls at you, but points at an empty bucket and steps away. I fill the trough with water from the creek and make sure Sato is comfortable. You wander through the village. 2 men in light clothing are carrying a wooden log, insulting each other in friendly banter. A young woman is chasing after a loose chicken, embarrassed by the giggling of bystanders. Main square, go to the innkeeper. Sleep. Oh. I guess I'll just sleep here. I got no money. Your first sleep ends, but your usual 1-hour break is instantly disrupted by noise. You stand up and walk to the window and see the reason for the commotion. A group of workers is just outside the inn, drinking and laughing. Eric's innkeeper is also among them. You could join them, but if you do so, you won't get a good sleep tonight, and after such a long day, you may end up exhausted. Just want to rest. During your time in Haviland, you learn to ignore drunken crowds. You can relax and return to your routine. Sharpen my blade and go back to sleep. Alright, I stink. And I'm hungry. Can I eat? How do I eat? Okay. Alright, well, let's go. Travel back here, we'll grab this person. Alright, let's set up our fish trap. I'll go back here. Alright. The entrance to the scavenger's hut is open. You see scraps of metal just organized in piles, while the old furniture has been dismantled into loose planks and pushed into corners. I roadster. The man looks tired and his beard is sticky, but he smiles at you. If you're ready, I'll start packing the tent. If you don't want to wait, start putting the iron on your mount. It'll be quicker, just say the word. And we can leave. Let's go to Paladin. He's asking you to watch for the beast and wraps the sharpest scraps of iron in his cape. Holding the tent and putting it on your horse takes a while. Neither of you can sit down in large pile of sacks and bundles. There's a long walk ahead of you. But for Saddle, it won't be much of a burden. Once you clear the room, you walk away. At first, you hear only the birds and horseshoes. Then the man starts to whisper. Faster, eh? The apes are looking at us. You don't see any proof of that. Nothing we can do about it. That leads to the southern gate. You move forward, slowed down by having to secure the bundles on Saddle's back and carry your own bags. After half an hour, the man asks for a break. Even though you shared your food with him, he's not fully recovered from days of hunger. But the further away you get from the ruins, the more cheerful and talkative he gets. Mostly speaking about what he needs to buy and how much. He hated the damn place. Then the beasts show up. I prepared my axe. A loud bunch of griffins blocks the road near a pond. For you, their colorful furs and feathers don't look much different than the pack you faced in the valley days ago. There's still some distance between you and them, but it could be crossed in less than a minute. There's maybe 20 beasts in sight, and this time they pay you much more attention. They spread their wings and start to screech, some making a few leaps forward. Your mount is too overloaded for you to turn away and get out of their range. Only one creature, with a distinct limp and signs of hunger, seems seemingly unmoved by your presence, as it approaches the water to quench its thirst. Better to hold our ground, groans the scavenger, preparing his crossbow and dagger. Stay on the defensive. He nods and blocks the path between the beast and your mount. Raises his loaded weapon, moving his aim between the approaching creatures. Alright. Make sure none jump their backs. The man's arrow hits and stops one of the creatures, but doesn't buy you much time. You realize your plan also gets closer to you. The semicircle of beasts and towns is hardly organized. One of the creatures simply leaps at you and the others follow. For the next minute, you slice and dice whatever you can hit, filling the air with screeches and feathers. The sheer number of opponents overwhelms you more than once, and it's difficult to keep pushing them away with your free hand, judging by the painful shouts. The scavenger is struggling, but is still alive. Finally, it all ends, though not because of lack of opponents. The two creatures you butchered on the ground, but the others, some of them hurt, have enough strength to run away. Their will is broken, yet the pack will go on, at least for some time. Your fine gambeson keeps you in one piece, and is still in decent shape. The man spits on the ground. May apes and ibexes bang this place day after day. He leans forward, takes a few deep breaths, and looks at you. Roadster, we're a fine team, you and I. He laughs briefly. Let me draw my ballista and we can move forward. Try to ease Sawdo's thoughts, it's better to keep moving. Have we made it? Alright, the man's sleeve and stomach are soaked with blood, but he tells you to ignore it. As you get closer to the pelt, he whistles enthusiastically. You weren't kidding, eh? What a fortress. The guards open the gate and take care of the scavenger's bundles, which Sawdo welcomes with a nicker. The man introduces himself quickly and asks to be brought some water from the well. Thank you, Roadster. I need to ask the innkeeper if he has any soap. I'm not going to chop off my damn arm. He clicks with his tongue. Like what I told you, if you want coins, you have to come back tomorrow when the house gets heavier. But I can and would prefer to give you the potion that repels ape men instead. It's useful, but not as much in the south as it is here in the woods. I mean, I guess I'll take the jar. I'm glad he unpacks a large jar made of clay. I'm not gonna lie, Roadster, it's pure troll urine. He chuckles. Don't ask me how I got it, eh? If you want to scare off some ape men, use it before they see you. Trolls eat them all the time. They stay away for as long as they can. Imagine you can feel the warmth in the jar. I won't miss it. I'll be here for at least a couple days. You find me around if you need me. I draw my recent camping. It's Corden's choice. He wanted to look like Roadwarden. I'll be here for at least a couple days. You'll find me around if you need me. After all my recent camping, I'm going to spend a few hours kissing this nice, strong wall. He starts to laugh and walks away, waving goodbye. I pack the jar and make sure it won't spill in my bag. I've got troll urine. Yay. Alright, let's go this way. The shapes of mountains are cutting through the horizon. The water gets gradually less muddy. The cleaner it gets, the more animals you see. A family of deer blocks the road, resting and enjoying the cold water, which would be deadly for a human stomach. You consider riding around them through the sparse meadow, but your presence also causes them disquiet. Without much haste, they regroup and run east into the leafy forest. I travel forward. You've reached the Hag Hills, the wall of stones that has blocked the city's grasp. The one well-established route through them leads to the valley where you found Tulia's camp. There are no maps of the highlands, nor local tribes, only stories. The beaten path leads you by the garden beds of herbs and vegetables to an old, yet not abandoned, mine hidden behind a massive door made of steel. I look around. There's no hitching rail for a mount. A bearded, skinny elder sits on a bench, observing you like a sculpture, with his legs crossed and fingers interlocked on his abdomen. Good day to you. Don't worry about my horse. I'll keep it away from your garden. Only worms, too stupid to understand me, would eat what's mine. You dismount and mention that your palfrey is no worm, but the man reprimands you with a thick accent. Let me see you while you speak. I can hear without magic, but I'll read your lips. He doesn't yell, but his voice reminds you of a combat instructor from the city. His face is wrinkled, but he sits straight, with a beard and hair still carrying a glimpse of fair blonde. He's tanned, like a worker, and his eyes are blue and piercing, as if they belonged to an infant. You're neat from here, and I will welcome a stranger in this refuge. Hear what you're looking for, begone. Explain who I am. call him friend. Confirm. He stares off across the garden beds, forcing you to wait in silence. The elder is tall, with long hair and a beard at that was let loose a long time ago. His sandals are covered in dust, and you spot dirt on his clothes and skin. The woolen tunic and linen were made with care, decorated with colorful threads at the collar and sleeves. Now all the blues and greens have faded, and the fabric is held together by patches and stitches. His hands are still folded. The voice remains firm. You do need to know our customs, your name, your trade, your calling. You mean nothing to the forest. I do need to know what you're expected to find here, but this is a place for strangers. I'll wait for him to look at me. The man stands up and approaches your palfrey. Without touching it, he observes its eyes, mane and stomach, and rear. Sala ignores the examination. My nose was right then. Astarion is dead, as are his plans. Such is the fate of all dreamers. He turns towards you with a grim look. Are you going to look for him? You nod. Why? If he's vanished into the fogs, there's no point in putting yourself in danger. What do you expect to find? Alright, I'm out of water and my mouth is dry. I'm going to go brush my tail and get some more water. I'll be right back. Okay? Okay, I'm back. Got some water. Probably should have drank some before I came up, but it'll be okay. What do you expect to find? He may need my help. Do you believe that? That a man with no power over animals... Thank you. A man with no power over animals could disappear in the wilderness and survive for that long? He lets out a chilling laugh. I bow to your optimism. He doesn't actually bow. If what you say is honest, you and I could share our past one day. Defending those who can help themselves is something that makes me whole. He takes a deep breath and smiles. You have some questions for me. I nod. His voice is cold and confident. So what do you need? I've heard about some bandits. Were they bothering you? He strokes his beard, but then grasps it nervously. There are souls who steal from the White Marshes, a village in the north. They would not dare show up here, but those brigands are brutes, simpletons. Even their leader, Glossia, listens only to force, and will humiliate for the enjoyment of her band. She would not be afraid of some lost Roadwarden. He lets go of his beard and lowers his head. She's drifted so far away from her old self. A kind, bright girl from Gale Rocks, loved by her parents. But now? Do not cross her, or she'll find you. Looking for a job. We have everything we need. I know I should arrest you. I want to fix... I call him Elder. You don't understand the signs of the forest. They're as deaf as these rocks. You want to build bridges, but for you, they are just structured on and used by humans. Prove that you're ready to learn our customs, and the bridge will grow on its own. What can you tell me about this place? Your eye sees what's these to know. People found copper in a cave. It's been abandoned for a long time now. So we turned it into a shelter to stay close to the sacred tree and its altar. We're servants, my wife and I. And this place is nothing more than a servant's house. Druid? Druid? Nope, I don't know what to call him. Oh, he's not a druid. What can you tell me about Vanessa? Can? I lived here for almost a century, traveled both by the pass and through the wilderness. His voice becomes stronger and makes you think of a bard. But I will need to be your guide or a teacher. If there's anything I can wish for, it's that you will stay away from the woods. The creatures get angrier the more we take from them. They do nay listen to our warnings, and one day they'll bury us under a storm of claws and fangs. There will be nay soul to spare a tear after us. His eyes are harsh as a hawk's, making him look like a priest who hears a child asking for honey on a day of ceremonial fasting. Do nay poke the hornet's nest. Do nay ride east, and never use the path that runs to the heart of this land. That road was meant to save time, but brings only death. Be a servant, nay an overseer. Do nay try to bend this place to your will. He points you and wags a finger after every word. Your will, anyone's will, is the key to danger, nay salvation. I think in these instructions I have my own thoughts. Nope, I think we're good. Alright, we can't go that way. We can go this way. The road is beaten and free of litter. You notice paths between the fruit-bearing trees on your right, and soon after that you ride alongside vast fields of broad beans, almost ready for the second harvest of summer. Then there are the green hemp plants, taller than you are, waiting for a scythe or a sickle. Locals keep the beasts at a distance, I guess. I saw his hoofs thump loudly on the beaten track. The green bushes, shrubs, and trees prove that soil here is fertile, yet the plants don't overgrow the road. These crossroads must be busy at times, maybe even patrolled. In the distant west, you see the mountain peak dividing the lowlands from the ocean. The road east leads toward the hills, behind which there are dense, unusually tall, dark trees. There's a dense forest to the north, which you can hear the croaking of toads. The last path is already known to you. You're surrounded by 4 signposts, all of which seem to be made from the same type of wood, now covered in moss and fungi. Yet the pictures and letters that cover the nailed boards are nothing alike. What's the western? It has 2 planks attached to a single post, both of them nailed with rusty steel. The lower sign is divided into 2 halves. The left edge is engraved with 4 simple shapes, squares with roof-like lines hanging above them. The other edge bears 2 engraved piles, one of them made of horizontal rectangles. I just took the jar because I didn't want to wait for the money. One of them made of horizontal rectangles, the other inexact circles. You don't recognize the letters between the piles. The upper plank is covered with 2 short words drawn in white paint, and right below them, an engraved vertical rectangle with hourglass beside it. Right, and it's a long plank, the text rusty and it's almost empty. There's no words, only a single picture. No great care. Portrays a city-like gate, the watchtowers left and right. A small conifers growing beside and partially behind the towers. Attached with nails made of pointy carved bones, and the 3 sections covered with small engravings. One on the left has 3 squares with roof-like lines, hanging above them no picture words. One in the middle has only 1 square, but also a single horizontal symbol of a fish, and a short word beneath it, which you don't recognize. Alright, let's check. I guess let's check our journal. Where are we heading? Places. Western Village. I guess let's head west. You cross a clean, shallow, yet wide creek that runs south, then follow the uphill path. I'll thank you for the pets. Squeeze between the hills and lush forest. You spend a good couple minutes passing a haunting meadow, filled with dozens, maybe 100 cut-down trees. Now overgrown by bushes and grass. You can't think of another time when you've seen a clearing of such size. Well, that sounds like animals. Seems dangerous. If this goes on, the animals will join forces to strike down whoever's responsible for this. Once the clearing ends, it turns into a corridor of trees and hills. You stop your horse. There's a monster in the middle of the road, reaching out with its long arms to grab and devour fruits and leaves in the tree crowns, chewing them without haste. It's standing on its hind legs and leaning on a thick tail. As there isn't much hair on its gray skin, you see its impressive muscles. The beast is 3 times the size of a human, and while each move it makes is slow, its long claws, the ease with which it breaks one of the branches, make you think a single swing will be enough for it to pierce through your jacket, or just as likely that it would simply break your bones and send you into the air. Like most people, you know quite a bit about pebblers. Once they get used to an unfenced farm or forest garden, getting rid of them can be a huge issue. There aren't many blades able to cut through the thick skin and bones, and a single mistake might put them into a furious charge, encouraging them to look for human dwellings, which they can tear down in revenge. The beast doesn't give you as much as a glance, but it also doesn't move away. The best you can hope for is it's going to walk away on its own. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later. Alright, we leave. Back to the crossroads. I guess we go north. I meant to just travel north. Some parts of the road lead uphill, some downhill. The forests are lush, but not too dark. The few foraging deer and boars keep their distance, and the birds are disinterested in your presence, singing cheerfully and preening their feathers. Sounds of an ongoing hunt reach you from the east, but none of the nearby creatures seem bothered. I mean, I was worried it'd be bad. Because, but we're only on day 2. And we've got, you know, a good bit filled in. I mean, we kind of want to look over here. But I assume this just makes a big circle. How far did I don't remember how far I went. I keep the distance, the birds disinterested in your presence, singing cheerfully and preening their feathers. Sounds of an ongoing hunt reach you from the east, but none of the nearby creatures seem bothered. Once you get further north, the colorful meadow reveals tall hills on the other side of the stream. Where the road leads to a valley, there's a gentle plume of smoke coming from the mountains to the west. It doesn't like the place on fire. Maybe there's a settlement in the mountains. The road leads to a gentle creek, filled with the buzzing of flies, mosquitoes, and gnats. You don't spot any critters among the tall meadows, tree branches, or rocky slopes. Seeing the shapeless dark vortex of wings, Soto snorts. You're currently on the southern bank. A blazing torch! You move away from the creek, get on your feet, and unpack the tinderbox of wooden stave and a set of rags as well as the oil. After you assemble a torch, you sit down on the ground preparing for the flint and linen charcloth. Decades ago, before the southern invasion, people used fire strikers made of thick steel. All you have is a cube-like piece of harsh pyrite. It's not ideal, but it's good enough for a couple sparks. Holding the fire, you get back to your saddle. You swing your weapon left and right, there's as much smoke as you expected. Let's put it to the test. Once you get close to the ford, countless creatures beset you, filling your eyes, mouth, and nose, hitting like a squishy, buzzing hail. You ride forward blindly, instantly forgetting about your preparations, trying to get it out of here as fast as you can. The insects are sticking with you for much longer than the smoke. Why do it have to be bugs? It's always bugs. It takes a few minutes for you to escape. The red marks on your skin start to burn. You get down to put out the torch by rubbing it against the beaten track. Shadow switches its tail angrily as it gives you a reproachful look, pinning its ears back to its head. Unless you find an easier way to protect yourself, the insects will keep slowing you down. For most of the time, you're surrounded by yellow meadows. The trees on your left get sparser, while the few lonely birches on your right still bear the signs of tapping, marked with knife cuts tied up with cords. Some of them still carry wooden vessels as they were simply abandoned, maybe last spring, maybe before that. A few of the trees have already dried out, and the winds managed to knock them down. As you get closer to the crossroads, the ground gets muddy. The beaten path avoids the wetlands as much as it can. Screeches and hisses amidst the buzzing of insects. As you reach a small pond, there are signs of blood on its bank. The air is moist and heavy, and has a hint of rotting meat to it. Can I eat? Like, how do you eat? Oh. It's too early. It's better to avoid the bogs when nighttime approaches. Some places really have fine roads. The trees and bushes are sparse here, growing from the barren grassland. Some of them bear late summer fruits. A group of wayfarers is spread around the broken signpost and the abandoned cart. They're skinny but healthy, and are standing upright. They're wearing humble, dim gambuses on top of their hemp tunics and pants, all of them worn, in some cases undyed, while others are dark green or brown. Four of these individuals wear cloaks, carry lit lanterns, and are armed with spears, bows, and stone maces. On their necks, wrists, and belts used by small talismans, fangs, bones, wooden beads, leather straps. There's also a fifth figure, standing a bit in the back, with lowered shoulders. Unlike the others, they're hooded, and in such a manner you doubt they can see anything other than their boots. Their clothes are shabby, torn, but your eyes mostly run to their club, a bow as long as the owner is tall, and as thick as a leg, resting with one end on the ground. You get closer, and the person raises a weapon with just one arm. But another traveler gestures for them to stop, and they do so right away, freezing in place. I stay in the saddle just in case. The man behind the gesture doesn't approach you, just nods. Bogs aren't safe for us, but even less a stranger. It's evenfall and far from roofs. Better to keep moving. You'll find an inn soon. You try to digest his thick accent. He's broad-shouldered with a large belly. The scars on his face sculpt an image of someone who's earned their share of food, with many skirmishes. He doesn't reach for his weapon, and pushes one of his companions closer to the cart. She kneels by an empty box and looks inside of it. The man observes you with a little curiosity, holding his lantern high in the air. Usually, I'm not at the cart. Need any help? He makes an annoyed grimace. Not really. T's timber is sickening. Moldy and wet. We're checking on the place, but it seems a bad year for it. He looks at his companions, who simply shrug and spread to take a look at the cart. All but the one with the bow, who doesn't move an inch. I say I have time to loaf. You've questioned to ask. But be quick. Don't put us to sleep. What's up with this one? He smiles, but you notice the others keenly observing. Nothing's up. They keep me safe. It's an impressive club. One of the men now turning over a moldy plank with his boot. It's just one way to put it. The loom was strong. Alright, I'm leaving. Alright, he steps aside. His companions are giving you harsh looks. The one with the bow remains silent and still like a statue. I don't know which way to go. Oh, can I eat now? Nice, okay. Let's go this way. Leave the wetlands behind. The pebbled road runs to the hillside, with tall grasses and rock faces above you, and dark, lush forest below. Chunks of this path were shaped by human tools. Who knows how many centuries ago? To widen it, the builders dug through the uneven boulders, and used rocks and logs to fill up the cavities with thousands of rocks, each one smaller than your fist. While you have a good view of what's happening between the trees on your right, the bushes and shrubs grow so dense between them you can't imagine entering these woods on your own. Farther south there are plumes of smoke. A settlement, most likely. Alright, let's see if we make the settlement before nightfall. At the top of the hill you reach a stone wall, a quiet place with no smoke coming from behind it. You look inside and see the glimpse of a peaceful ruin. While the main road is beaten and easy for hoofs to trod, the destroyed gate and the remains of the front yard have almost been reclaimed by short grasses. You see any suspicious movement, but the place seems to be free of inhabitants larger than a falcon. The air is fresh and the wind shakes the tree crowns gently. Enter the yard. The hamlet could be a hunter's shelter, a military outpost, or a storehouse for traders. But you spot no fresh human trails. The damaged door and gate are years old, soggy and moldy, and judging by the squirrels, birds, and animal feces you see in the grass, this place is but part of a wilderness. The roof collapsed only a few years back, turning into food for mushrooms. Outer wall looks generations old, but used to be maintained. Some of the materials come from different times and areas. Building. It's a simple chamber with no furniture that would explain its purpose. The fireplace is buried beneath the roof. You inspect the walls, made of hundreds of small rocks dressed with a chisel. The trash is heavy from the moisture. You push it with your boot, which starts a commotion amongst gray, disoriented bugs. Removing the rubble will take some effort, but for now it doesn't look like there's anything of value left behind. With enough wood, a group of builders could restore this hamlet in just a few days. You hear a rustle coming from the backyard. Look through the common wall and notice the movement of reddish fur. Not a tall creature. Go behind the building. The chaos sparks right as you approach the tree stump. The dust fox's growls sound like a mix of a noxious bird and an infant. One of the animals standing only a few feet away is jumping and showcasing his tiny sharp teeth and a raccoon-like black mask on its little head. The animal, with its thick brownish gray fur, seems more stout than any red fox. The second loud creature jumps on the table, made of a half trunk. Unlike the first one, it has brighter golden fur. It bends one of its forelegs, observing you with its dark eyes. Not furious, nor scared, rather sad and protective, its growl turns into a miserable whine. The beasts are not even waist high, but their number may be an issue. There's yet another sound coming behind you, even more from the bushes nearby. I step away. You take a quick glance and evade the creature in front of you as it tries to bite your leg. But then you feel the bite on your calf. The third fox is standing right behind you. While it's loud, it's also lumbering about, not trying to hold you in place. The noises from the bushes belong to little pups, most likely harmless, so they are doing their best to imitate their guardians. I think we can go. Run for it. You pass the weaker fox and run toward your belongings. You encourage the beast to chase you all the way to the gate as they growl with determination. For now they stay in the shelter, filled with pride. Alright, this place is already abandoned. Check the warrior skill. Oh. Alright, they're not trying anyone. Alright, I guess I'll have to cut him down. Take my legs and... Gray fox quick and nimble, you try to keep at a distance, aware that another fox approaching you from the back slowly. You get hit by the golden critter, which is clinging to your arm and shoulder, with its claws reaching your neck. Your fine armor stops the pain completely, and as you raise your arm, the fox's jaw is almost at the edge of his teeth. But you're conscious enough to grab it and throw it away, making it hit the wall with an unpleasant thud. You maintain your cold blood and swing your weapon at the fox that wants to bite your leg. It tries to dodge, but not quickly enough. You land a hit, and the whining beast moves away, leaving a trail of blood behind it. Pain scares away the two stronger foxes, and the third one's unwilling to attack you without assistance. You raise your blade, and they wait no longer. The stronger two run for their pups, grab them by the necks, and keeping their distance, carry them to the hole in the wall, near the bare tree. They get through it with confident jumps. Before the lumbering one disappears in the wilderness, gives you the back shelter one last glance. Okay. Alright. I look for the den. The dust fox burrow placed beneath the back wall of the building is not much longer than your arm. So it aims if the animals abandon their efforts, but they found another shelter. There's also not that many paw prints near the burrow. Most of them are close to the rock face. Oh, let's leave. I was hoping we could take shelter there. You squeeze between the hills and the forest. The only larger beast you spot is a single saurian basking on a boulder. No, I still got 3 hours. The only larger beast you spot is a single saurian basking on a boulder, lazily observing you from a safe distance. Your ears catch the howls coming from the north, long and loud, and as you keep your eye on the rock ledges, you almost miss the drastic shift in the landscape. The forest turns into a lake, and the few plants growing next to the road mostly bear fruit. The road is not as reliable here as it was in the hills. Parts of it are a bit muddy, and the puddles just disturb your ride. Maybe the locals will maintain it before it gets swallowed by the lake. The deep, loud yells of howlers are piercing your ears, concealing any other sound in the area. They're sitting on branches and in the tall grass, and not really trying to hide. Their thick black and gold furs cover their entire shells, aside from the charcoal black faces, with roundish, flat noses and wide nostrils. The younger members of the pack are about the size of your mount's head. But the larger ones would be chest high if it wasn't for the fact they walk on all fours. Their long tails are like an additional arm, helping them climb, hang on from the branches, or hold food while they eat. They aren't particularly muscular. When they form their pink lips in the shape of a cup to release their howls, their mouths are so wide they can fit your entire arm inside. As you listen to their shouts, you reach for your head. You feel a weird itch, but somehow you can't scratch it. Keep my distance out. Take a look at the hide behind the boulder. The whitish rawhide covers the grass like a blanket, surrounded by paw prints. The howlers don't wait for you to approach it. One of the larger ones jumps to the ground, laying on his hands and challenging you with his gaze that has rather blunt teeth. I'm trying to scare them away. You're yards away from the closest tree. The howlers are climbing, swinging, browsing leaves, seeking bugs in the meadow. Only a few of them pay attention to you. You can start with an attack from the distance, but there's no way for you to take down an entire pack. The best you can hope for is scare them off. Let's cast rocks at them. Your poor aim makes you hit the trunk, drawing the monkey's attention. They howl even louder, pointing at you and jumping between the branches. Your rocks don't hurt them much. They stay still thanks to their tails and cover their faces with their hands. Large ones land on the grass. Move forward. Curious howlers step back, not sure why you're not running away. I shout at the monkeys and swing my arms. Shadows overshadowed by the furious howls. The monkeys take the first step forward. My head aches as if you're getting hit by You want to touch your stomach to stop a strange movements, if your guts are shaking and hitting one another. You leap forward and reach for the axe. You touch one of the creatures. The blunt side of the weapon lands on its arm. You escape the beast's grapple, but the assailant doesn't even yell. You leap away, struggling to keep the distance. Your next hit finally spills some blood, getting the howler's shoulder. The others are already surrounding you. You look for a way to escape their approach. Having no shield, you're vulnerable from all sides. Turn to the next opponent. Look around, then duck. Another creature tries to jump at you from your left. The monkeys are determined to get you. led more by their fury than fear. There's no chance you can face them in a fair fight. Run as fast as I can. You get into saddle, followed by the angry shouts. Saddle's more than ready to flee. Fiercely held back, nostrils wrinkled. You wonder if it suffers from the house. I was hoping to find a place to rest. Lakeside fields chirping cicadas and crickets, as well as the roaring of beasts from the northern hills. We got 3 hours before dusk. Further down the road, you see tall yellow grasses interwoven with flowers and bumblebees, while the peaceful water shines just as much as the wings of dragonflies. This road is often traveled, and the clatter of hooves carries far. Thanks to the vast field of view, the creatures hiding in the meadow are unlikely to jump on animals as large as Sottle. In the distance, you see a palisade and a large building set on the side of a crossroad. When you get closer, you hear conversation from behind the wall. 2 men are arguing about if they really just heard a horse. Let's better ask for directions. This might be a good place to rest. Sottle carries you toward the open gate on its own, welcoming an opportunity to rest by pushing out the air loudly through its nostrils. A nearby wooden pen won't offer much space for a horse, but should be enough for grazing and a nap. As you dismount, 2 men get up from the front stairs. Well, that's what I was trying to do, but I don't know where the places are. Their clean-shaven faces reveal they're in their early 20s. The first one is taller than you, broad-shouldered and wears light brown pants and a dark jacket. Both of them are made of leather. With an inviting smile, he gets up and moves to open the enclosure. His steps are heavy and slow, but every movement is marked with care, ensuring he won't knock down anything or anyone. The second man looks as different from his colleague as the sun from the moon. He's unusually short and wears a heavy cloak made of black fur, so large it could cover his entire shell. He opens the door of his building, hides his hand, and peeks into the room. "Foggy!" His voice is shrill and unconcerned. "A messenger, come. Take off some of my bundles, let my horse rest." A hanging barrel sways in the wind, marking the place as an inn or tavern. The building resembles a merchant's house from Havloven, whitewashed with old, elegant wooden beams. The fragile walls are high enough to avoid floors and snow, but you have no doubt that a troll or even a pebbler could easily break through them. The palisade is short, has hardly any support, and has no walkway for a crossbowman, hardly enough for even a makeshift hamlet. It is the open harbor that makes you uneasy. Aside from the fish, any creature, aquatic or not, could just walk into the yard, undisturbed. The path is covered with paw prints and claw marks. Better not leave Sottle outside during the night. A black and white bird swoops into the water, then flaps its wings and takes off, with a silver, twitching creature in its talons. The large man clears his throat. "And what have we here? Coming from afar, friend? Are there now horses and howlers?" His voice is stentorian, close to a shout. You vaguely recognize his accent as one found in the city harbor. "Quite far, kind soul. Sottle came with me from Havloven." He nods appreciatively. "A weird beast, aye? A donkey that can kill a man." You notice he keeps quite a distance from it and holds his hand close to his throwing club. I haven't seen one in a while. The roads here aren't that bad. They'll take you north and east with ease. You hear heavy footsteps. A woman shows up in the doorway and looks at you from the top of the stairs. She's even more towering and stout than her son, the man who just welcomed you, with a massive chest and a pear-shaped face, with a prominent chin. Her movements are composed and confident. She may be older than 50, with a mixture of gray and dark blonde hair. She has only one arm, the left one, notably muscular, and with a hand so large it could likely chop off Sottle's head with a single strike, or crush yours like a berry. Through the slit of her robe, made of creamy worn fur, you spot her trunk-like legs. She runs her eyes over your blade, armor, and mount. Her lips form into something of a smile, distorted by the scar that runs through her mouth. The tall guy looks a lot like her. The tall man spreads his arms, forming a chain between you and his mother. "Meet Foggy, friend. Ma, the rider's come to us from Havloven. Just look at his horse." His powerful voice turns timid, and he keeps turning his head from left to right and back. "Too bad we have no hay. He looks hungry." The woman looks at him with amusement, then glances at your palfrey. "Aye, a cute monster you've brought, but not enough fat on it. If it ever breaks a leg, bring it here. We'll smoke it for winter." She vaguely stretches out her only hand. What brings you to Foggy Lake, love? Just stopping by? Her voice is hoarse, like that of a traveler who spent too many autumn nights in cold tents. It carries a hint of motherly concern. I close the animal pen I'm in to head toward the stairs. You won't find another shelter in this part of the Dragonwoods, especially not in the creeks. She scratches her broad chin with torchlight fingers. You drink? And could come, sure, why not? That's what I like to hear. Her brief, powerful laughter is enough to scare away the birds from above the lake. Your mount lets out a fearful snort. Let's not wait then. Come, dear, share a story with me, and a mug. Without waiting for your response, she walks inside. The tall man takes a deep breath. Go ahead. We'll take care of your horse. He encourages you with a gesture. And by that, he means we won't do anything with it. Adds the man in black fur. Whenever his screechy words follow the deep voice of his companions, he sounds like a brat. We won't be feeding or washing beasts that aren't going in stew. But we'll keep an eye on it. They find new spots to rest, the side of a boat, in a stool near the palisade. I go up the stairs. The narrow, segmented window shutters let in a lot of light without letting the beast inside. The air is humid, but carries not a hint of putridity. The heels of Foggy's boots make her steps thunder, even though the planks don't creak. Make yourself at home, she says, without looking at you, heading to the trapdoor in the corner. I'll just grab a little something. Your ears catch the screeches of hunting birds and the wind that leaks in through the windows. Other than that, the room is quiet. I investigate the main hall. The room is crammed with stuff. The bear pelt on the ground would be a nice resting spot. But the place doesn't look like a real home. No chests, no cabinets for clothes. No toys or tools for simple crafts that would fill up the time during rainy evenings. Living with so many windows in winter would be a struggle. One could clear this place in one morning and move all that's worth saving into a single wagon. The only things of exceptional value are the cauldron, made of pricey steel, and the hanging head of an insect-like monster. Its mandibles don't move, the dim eyes seem intact, and its armored head tells a long story of survival through scratches and cuts. I'll wait for the keeper's return. You take a glance at the blood on the table, the scattered yellow feathers, and a bowl of guts and talons. You find yourself a clean stool. Foggy shows up soon, smiling and holding 2 cups in her hand. A bottle in her fingers and a cloth under her shoulders. She puts everything on a stool and wipes the table clean. Forgive the mess, it's just a part of the job, she explains without a hint of apology. I'd rather dress birds in the yard, but the blood lures beasts. Sometimes the folks through the creeks bring us meals, but we need to take care of ourselves. She throws the bloody cloth back into the bucket, making a splash, then sits down on a stool and makes it look like it was made for a doll. She rests her elbow on the table and looks you in the eyes. Her voice is warm yet intrusive. So who am I dealing with? I introduce myself. The bottle removes its seal seemingly by itself. The wax floats in the air briefly, then lands on the table gently. Without a word, she pours a thick liquid into the cups with her only hand, but doesn't offer you a drink. You offer you a drink just yet. I'm trying to learn more about the peninsula. The tavern seemed like a fair shot. She sighs and grabs her cup. Looks like she could crush it with just 2 fingers. I don't see what's in it for me, dear. I'm sure you'll find those who crave a pair of ears to fill it with gibberish. But I run this place to get more from it than I put in. She places the second cup in front of you. It's made of dim brown wood, humble, wide and short. Its surface is cold, rough, but elegant. In Huffleton, such vessels are often ornamented with metalwork, from bronze to gold, and bear all sorts of carvings and pictures. What would you like in return? Her grin makes you think of a hungry wolf. Now we speak in the same tongue. She'd be sure to act rather than talk. I have a little thing on my soul that you could take care of. It's not a hard task, but it's not something I'd trust the boys outside with. She glances at both entrances. We can talk about it later. Why now? Go ahead and enjoy your drink. You raise the cup to your nose. You smell flowers, yeast, and hops. The liquid is golden on the edges, and resembles a red amber in the center. It's as thick as an herbal medicament. You take a look at your companion, seeking a hint of what's expected of you. In some places, people gulp down their mead, but your vessel allows you to appreciate the aroma. The huge keeper smiles and takes a sip. You follow her lead, allowing the drink to pass your lips. It's warm, hiding none of its subtleties. Drinking mead is a never-ending conflict between holding the taste in your mouth and saving yourself from the tormenting sweetness of honey. Yet the flavors of flowers are just as present, too difficult to capture just yet. Foggy leans forward with an elbow resting on the table. Well, for me, it's a lazy evening. At least the rains spare us. So nicely holding off to the evenings. What brought you north? You don't seem like someone who spends her life cleaning tables. Well, thank you. Once you burn enough dead friends and relatives, clean tables start to look pretty tempting. Plenty tempting. She leans forward and takes another look at her bottle, sealing it with an approving nod. My mom and pa were both big and strong. Both big and strong. One time they saw me sitting on this kid, twisting his arm. So they started to teach me. Staff duels, running, lifting barrels and rocks. Thankfully, the army chieftain said I wasn't disciplined enough. She rubs the scars on her forehead. So I did a lot of things. Escorted some merchants, joined a group of adventurers, hunted for bounties, guarded a village, simple. The last memory makes her voice gloomy. Not all of these things make me proud of myself. She smells the mead in her cup, but doesn't take a sip. I moved here only after I lost my arm, when the folks were fleeing the invasion. I took my eland, a cask of dragons, and joined a more organized group. Arm or not, I still have a fierce punch. She lets out a pleased grunt. I was worth keeping around. Her voice can't hide that she's delighted to carry on with her tale. Now that the years are catching up with me, and even more so with my back, I need to build myself a decent shelter. I've craved no adventures, but I'm happy to hear stories from other restless souls. In the meantime, I'll practice this little trick. She points at the cauldron in the middle of the room and starts to make circles with her finger. The ladle mimics the movement, mixing the stew for another minute or two. That's also good for my back. What's the story behind this place? Can't be more than a few years old. It's our third summer under the roof of Foggy Lake, but the palisade is older. It used to be a camping spot for the bird catchers from creeks, but there are fish here that don't swim in orange streams. We were but newcomers in the north. These lands were hard to bend, but the beasts got used to us with time. A melancholy crawls into her eyes. She observes the mead in her cup. Every year or so, we added something new. The rocks for a campfire, some stools, a fence, a firewood shed, a boat. At one point, we brought in the lumber from the White Marshes and built a cabin, like the one at the Eastern Road. More folks started resting here, even traders from Gale Rocks and Old Pagos. A plenty fine spot for an inn, aye? Her smile is warm. I'm building my home from nothing, you could say, and not for the first time. How about you? Does any of it sound tempting? My home is wherever I can find kind people. She chuckles. You can always find some folks who are somewhat kind some of the time, but all of them have their limits or bad days. That's a good thing. Like, no matter how nice someone is, everyone has bad days. Without a place to return to, you're missing out on souls and their stories. She looks you in the eyes with motherly concern. Or who knows? Maybe you're different. How do you stay safe from the beast? You're completely open from the lake. Quick legs, love. Her brief yet thunderous laughter makes you flinch. We don't leave any food outside, but our cauldron smells. Every now and then something scary shows up. We lock ourselves in here for days if we have to. Our windows help us keep an eye on the yard. Better that than leaving the hamlet to the goblins. He mentioned that having no wall from the lakeside is quite a risk. She nods in agreement and takes another sip. We don't bring children and old folks around, but this part of the peninsula is not so bad, at least in sunlight. Not much food growing or running around, unless you can live on fish and birds. And the folks of the creeks are great hunters, the greatest around. Isn't there a harbor in the city as well? How do you keep the creatures away? They mostly stay in the water waiting for trash or drunkards to fall off a bridge. Chilling. One day we had such a thing here during our first summer. 2 adventurers got drunk and went to watch the lake after dark. We'll hide if anything shows up, they were saying. In the morning the water was red, and their rags were covering the rocks. Your name's Foggy and this is Foggy Lake. Is the tavern named after you or after the lake? The lake has no name. She moves her cup away and leans forward, resting her elbow on the table. Her voice is playful, warm. Yet, I mean, there will be stories about this place. Believe me. And about passing by the lake while getting to Foggy's. I may not be a dragon slayer or a holy woman, but one way or another, my soul will live on in my name, tied to these walls. She looked at you in silence, then burst into laughter. You could swear she makes the jars shake. I'm plenty fine being vain. We all want to be remembered, I think. Yeah. My pa used to say memories of ours live on in the blood of our children. But guess what? Kids die as well. All my brothers and sisters, gone. She pauses. There's no sadness in her eyes. Stories have a better reach, aye? We can tell each other about strangers who lived centuries ago. There's magic in that. I spread her arm. She leans back, moving her shoulders and chest up and down as if she's having a soundless chuckle. Not one I'm going to share with a newcomer, dear. Stay alive until next autumn. I'll open a cask of cold cider and tell you quite a tale. It has treason, treasure, monsters, and dark spells. But I'm way too sober for it now. She winks. She grabs her cup. Her wink turns into an awkward blink. So, you can move things with your thoughts. She chuckles. Why, can't you? I don't know much about magic. Without a teacher, there's not much you can do. My grandparents used to be great mages, but not great enough to survive. The plague. Her scarred lips form a grimace. My ma got no talent from them. After a year of training, she was hardly able to move a feather by a foot. I always knew I had a strong pneuma in my blood. There was no soul there to teach me how to use it. She examines her cup. The ladle stops moving. I'm trying to figure it out by myself, but I may not have enough summers left. Now what's going to happen next? We build a real wall? Why not? Then grow my connections to villages, buy more hard drinks, build another shed, a cabin even, hire a private warden for these roads. You know, for my guests. She sips from her cup, looking at you. But that's all in the distant future. We at Creeks need to take care of Eastern Route. Clear it for traders. Without trade, all I have is the locals, and they don't even use dragon bones. Why do you care, dear? Are you planning to stay around? At least a few years. Her smile would suit a bear. If you know how to use that axe of yours, you'll be more than welcomed. On this side of Hag Hills, we need folks who can handle themselves, no matter if they're road wardens, mercenaries, or guards. Just not soldiers, she chuckles. Take me into some expensive drinks. The pricey ones are gifts I received, or treasures I found when I was young. I also bought a few, I like to offer something unusual to the wealthier, or more promising guests. She tilts her cup. I dabble with some recipes myself. I have plenty of brewing tools, though I could name maybe half of them. Still, from ales to hard drinks, I had some successes. Any interesting beasts you hunt for? Oh, I hunt for nothing, she smirks. Not since I lost my arm. And the boys outside are not made for it either. They've no drive to fight, you see, and grew up to be wimps. They sometimes club down a hare, but we're all about foraging and bird traps now. The folks in Creeks do the real hunting. She adds after a pause. Runners and mouflons, rats, sometimes buffalo or saurian. We have no soil for fields, so gamey is all we have left. She stretches out, getting even taller. Do you hunt often? I do. Making monsters bleed makes me feel alive. She laughs. I used to be the same. I love the hunts, sure. Even more so crushing the undead. I even cut down a few bandits for good pay. But now when my dumb ape of a son goes on a longer trip, my heart pounds like a hammer. She thuds her clenched fist against her chest. I couldn't go on like this. Bandits also have mothers. Let's change the topic. I must say, love, I rarely meet folks with that many questions. She gives you a warm look. What hides beneath them? Monster murder fox. Nothing, just getting to know you better. The scarred lips make an unclear grimace. Words can only get you so far. You won't know someone by meeting them once every few seasons. You need to stay around and see others' deeds. Listen to their coughs and cries. Travelers don't know folks, just stories. Her voice gets somber. Trust my ears when I say so. I'm looking for Astarion, the previous Roadwarden. She looks at you for a longer moment, without the slightest movement. And why do you think he's here? I'm not saying that I do, but maybe you know where I can find him. I misunderstood you. She shakes her head and leans on the table. He didn't tell me... I don't know his whereabouts. He didn't tell me a thing more than I needed to hear. When was the last time you saw us, Darian? Same as... She glanced at a window. Same as others. In the late days of spring. We were waiting for his return, me and all the villages. They moved on. I have no idea where he went. All the villages, you say? She turns toward you with the fierceness of a bear. That's what I said. What can you tell me about him? She rests her hand across her stomach, which identifies her version of crossing her arms. A customer and an errand runner. What's there to say? Your initial questions don't get many more answers. She brings up the man's looks and equipment, without adding much to what you've already learned from Tulia. He was paying with dragons, rarely bartered, she adds. That's what city folk do. Aye? Seeking riches and locking themselves in a chamber, prisoners of their might. Prisoners of their might. I frowned. It's not really what I'm aiming for. We'll see, love. We'll see. Do you do any jobs for you? She pressed her tongue against her cheek and lips. Well, I'm not sure. He was bringing me news or delivering my messages. Sold me some stuff, sometimes bought a thing or two. His life wasn't really that riveting. Just another mud glassware, sitting in the corner, patching his clothes. Is that anything useful? She stares at you without blinking. Such as what? Something that hints for where he went. She frowns. I'll tell you if I think of anything. You don't sound especially bothered by his disappearance. You see me as someone eager to make friends with a vagabond? I'll take it to my compliment to my skills at tavern keep. Oh, come and go. Their faces disappear. Friends die in my arms. She pauses. Families fade away. There was a different Roadwarden years ago. And there's another one now. There's only one Foggy in the north. Only one Elin. That slow son of mine. And one Creeks. I have only so many tears to spare. And this later. I'm looking for work. Checking up on... Somehow doubt you're here to forage for me, love. Not that having room for another soul, let me think. Turns her eyes over the shelves and the trophies. It's the rocks around the fireplace to catch her attention. The folks at Old Pagos are really quiet. They were supposed to drop 2 wagons of rocks off at my place. Can you check on them? Find out they're fine. You mentioned the payment. It won't take much work from a rider. You can get there and back in less than a day. Just ride west of here until the road takes you south, to the crossroads. Turn west again, you'll find the village. I'll give you, let's say, a dragon bone. You say it's not much, but she waves it off. A Roadwarden should get familiar with all the villages anyway, right? Just do it once, when you have a chance. I'll have more coins for you once you prove you can be trusted with the simpler tasks. I'll let you know if I learned anything. Gonna spend a night or two under your roof? She approaches the window above the table and looks outside. Your beach won't make it easy for us, dear. She places her smile on the shutters. It's not a city inn. I don't cook for a smile. I don't work to feel noble. I allow folks to lie down there for free. She points to the bare fur with her broad chin. That's about it. If your horse stays outside, it'll lure beasts to us. When we move it here, upstairs, it'll leave droppings on my floor. She looks annoyed, even by the idea of it happening. If you want to rest here, love, be ready to pay either a coin or food rations. Or to spend the night keeping your mount quiet and clean it after in the morning. Let's see, I've heard some bandits in the north. She makes an annoyed grimace. What can I tell you, dear? You know how it goes. Lost souls need a new path after an awfulness finds them. But the years go by and it doesn't make it any easier. One day they take a pile of firewood, another one some bread and clothes. After they start hurting folks, there's no way back. Even if they're not at all cruel. You ask her some more, but she's reluctant to give you straightforward answers. You don't have to worry about Glossia's band. They hunt. Sometimes take this or that, scavenge after folks who get jumped by beasts. But she never tried to threaten my place. You're safe here. And why would they bother a Roadwarden? She may be right. Some bandits are just desperate. I need to get some more water. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry, it's been a long time since I talked this much. Let's see. Have you heard anything about the necromancers here in the north? Shoshin, I don't like what they're doing one bit, but I can't blame them. The folks at the White Marshes struggle, and they don't know how to protect their kids or elders. Orentius, their priest. She cracks her shoulders. A quiet man, but preaches like a zealot, and always looks like he's on the verge of crying. She opens the door with a wave of her hand, letting in some fresh air. She looks at the lake. They used to trade in lumber, those from the marshes, until Hallersdale started selling their own trees for better prices. The trade to the marshes died, and so came the hunger. She looks at you with an unclear grimace on her lips. You may judge them, but at least their preacher gave them hope, even if it's tied to black magic. What do you tell me about the peninsula? I know this and that. Which place? I think it's time for me to go. Sleep. Barefoot will be a fine sleeping spot, yeah. We'll do what we can. The monster shouts wake you up. The night is bright. From the window of the tavern, you have a good look at the yard. A few massive dragonlings are exploring the courtyard, knocking over wooden tools with their tails, putting their noses into buckets and underneath the stairs. You count 5 of them so far, but you can't see the entire area at once. One of them spots your look and moves closer. Still, it doesn't try to climb to the door. Maybe it's experienced enough to know it won't get through. Close the shutter. Yeah, just close the shutter. It's an exhausting night. Wow. Saucines keep stepping in place or walking, taking on short naps. You can't count how many times you try to calm it down. The voice touch, bathroom water, a snack, but nothing helps. Close your eyes for an hour or so in the late morning to clean up after your mount. Just alone is disarming. Alright, I think it's time to go. Let's wash myself in the lake. Near to the bridge and move to its edge. Somewhere below you, you notice a glimmer. Hey you, step back, run. Without even thinking, you leap towards the yard. You can say, oh yeah, you can save. Without even thinking, you leap toward the yard. A long teeth-filled mouth breaks the water surface, splashing it in every direction. It bites the empty place where you were just standing, while the front limbs, thick and scaled, and in claws as large as your fingers, land on the wood. Once the saurian's yellow eyes notice you're outside its reach, it nonchalantly slides into the lake. You hear laughter coming from the yard. The large forager who's wearing leather was running with help. It now stands with hands on his thighs, cackling without rest. The man in black fur, on the other hand, looks at you with worry. You see a hand kept beneath his cloak, as if he was reaching for something. What are you doing, I? The lake isn't for outsiders. I'll stay away, don't you worry. Well, we're about to die. guess let's travel. We set up a fish trap here. That's a long way away. We can go back here. Yeah, time went a lot. It doesn't show you how much time is there. Path is cleared in a way. The peddler is nowhere in sight, but the road is covered with leaves and broken branches. The only fruit-bearing trees are growing right on the sides of the road, surely planted there by humans. There are plenty of fruits and leaves the monster may chew on, so it may return any day now. Who knows, maybe it won't be back. The corridor of prune trees leads to a steep ascent. Behind them grows a peaceful meadow, filled with flowers and crickets, and the humming of a waterfall. Did I save? Okay, I don't know. On the beaten path, you spot no footprints or wheel trails, but there's smoke on the horizon. I'm gonna die right here. Action fields are spread over an unnatural plateau. Humans have been carving the hill for generations, covering it with soil brought here in buckets and wagons. Among the weeds and tall grass, you spot rotting tools and a tunic. Pastures overgrowing, and so are the fields. Some of the oats are ready for harvest. My axe. The lot gate is taller than a troll, and you can't imagine climbing up the massive wall. For a moment, you follow the path to the edge of the cliff. The roaring ocean is more than 100 feet below you. You spot no one looking at you from the watchtower. No patrols of archers. The wall is occupied by black and blue birds of various types. You return to the gate and focus on the sounds. There are a few screaming ibexes. A young boy is crying. I will knock on the door. The thudding scares away the birds. They call loudly, starting with a cacophony of throats and flapping wings. After maybe a minute, you hear a bronze plate scratching against the wood as someone reveals a peephole. The strict female voice stops you from moving closer. Traveler, while Pegasus is secluding, for it's been smitten by a deadly plague. Be gone before you get sick. Do you need any help? I'm the new Roadwarden. No one can save us. You look into the young brown eyes that match the skin of the black-haired owner. While the woman looks like a southerner, she has a strong local accent. She follows you cautiously, without blinking, like a fighter awaiting a strike. North from here, in the monastery, live masters of spells and potions, blessed by the people guided by the right themselves. And even they are powerless. You hear more footsteps gathering near the entrance. May them be blessed, for they look after our ill. A weak voice in the elder chips in. We thank you, Warden, the woman continues. We can't know how many of us will see the winter. If you really want to help us, warn the other tribes. They wouldn't move a finger for us. We ought to protect them. There must be something I could do. After she blinks, after she casts sadness in her eyes. I've heard such words more times than I can count. We've done all that we could. What's left is to ask the right to ease our pain and wait. Can I ask you a few questions while we're here? As for how much we can do for you. We see no one. We travel nowhere. We were born on this hill and we'll die here. After a few breaths, her eyes get kinder. I'm Tertia. If you bring any news, I'll take them to our council. Were you bothered by any bandits in recent seasons? Not in years, Warden. They did attack us on the road once before. But their little pack won't come here. At first, her tone is gentle, but after she blinks twice, it turns solemn. Or they would face our anger. Our walls fear only dragons. Our blades are made of steel. Tell me more about this illness. What does it do? She glances at someone or something that stands to her right. It lasts a long time. Even those who seem to avoid death remain weak for days. There are fevers, headaches, red faces, red eyes, and a rash. Those whom we had to burn were sleeping and raving, unable to understand us, and got too weak to move or even drink. She looks down. Children and elderly suffer the most. Why don't you harvest your crops? Even though her cold gaze doesn't break, her voice betrays her pain. Some of our youth refuse to stay behind the walls. They say they need to leave before they fall sick. If we were to let them outside, one of them could refuse to come back. You frown. No, it wasn't pain what you've heard. It's shame. I'm looking for a staring at the previous Roadwarden. Isn't he dead? I want to know for sure. If he's not, what else? Souls perish on the roads every day. We don't wait for him anymore. The best you can hope for is he rode south. What is it you were waiting for? It's not much of a secret. She looks to her right, and then to again. Head far east to the crossroads. You'll find a watchtower, an old building made of our stone. You notice the pride in her voice, but hardly ever used since the war. Your friend wanted to turn it into a shelter. Hire guards patrol the roads. He took our key and rode away. He was meant to meet with us again, trade for materials and tools. Never happened. Any idea who else could have such a key? Before it was completed, the builders were spending the rainy days in the coastal village in the far north. Gale Rocks, it's called. Ask there. Do you want me to ask the other villagers for help? There's no love between us and them. We don't share drinks, stories, or dances. If it weren't for marriages, our children would never see each other. If it wasn't for trade, we could just as well live on a mountain peak. They need our stone, we need fishes, and salt from Gale Rocks, game meat from creeks, and grain from Howler's Dell. But all of them are harpies. Did I just... What? Oh, I hit my phone and it came on. Led by greed and lust, the same ills that wounded our grandparents. She hesitates and looks to her left. Still, the wicked souls of White Marshes are even more burrowed in shadows. Sounds like you hold a grudge against them. Takes a deep breath. Yet I won't spread any rumors. As much as it saddens me, they need us to survive, and we need them. And you're even stranger to us than they are. Alright, let's go. We were going to try to get a potion here. You ascend a gentle hill with thick green thickets coating the valleys. The path is like an endless bridge built by the ancient three-legged giants, or maybe by the pagan spellcaster. I don't think I'm going to last 5 days. The higher you get, the fewer plants you see. Hit by a cold wind, you adjust your cloak. I ride slowly, sitting in the center of the saddle. Mountains are harsh for horses. You approach the raised drawbridge and observe the face of the mountain. The hooks holding the hourglass are as large as a person, displaying their devotion to the right proudly. To a tremendous wealth and labor. Rustling of leaves carries no songs of birds, shouts of apes, or whines of hunted critters. The river attacks its banks with a fierce roar. You get off your palfrey. The cave mouths are connected by paths, stairs, and bridges. You don't see any people, but there's smoke coming from one of the entrances. You hear muffled thuds of a hammer. The gardens are weeded, the building's firm. The green trees on the top of the mountain bear red and brown fruits. 2 rounded sticks are tied with a rope to a nearby rock. You grab them and take a closer look. They're claves. I don't know what that is, but I make a sound. Green demon shows up near the building. The echo of your hits cuts to the swashing stream. After a few minutes, 2 hooded figures leave a cave mouth at the top of the mountain and give you a long look from the edge of the cliff, then walk down the path with caution. You smile and wave to them before they disappear behind the buildings, which are made of bricks, not logs, and are covered with tiles instead of thatch. Little by little, the bridge gets looser, then it hits the grass gently. The taller figure, now covered with shadows, invites you with a gesture. Greetings. And greetings to ye. He hesitates. His voice is hoarse but sonorous. Salutations to thou, traveler. He puts his bandaged hand on his waist. You're at Wright's Haven. The greeters take off their hoods. They wear brown, dark, simple worn robes and ropes instead of belts. They have no jewelry or ornaments, just small bags made of fabric on their shoulders. The larger shell belongs to a strong, barefoot man in his 50s. Despite having no weapon, his eyes are audacious and could belong to a muzzle standing in the door of a harbor tavern. His wrinkles are subtle, but there are only a few tufts of gray hair left on his greasy head. His skin is pale, covered in liver spots, though at closer look you realize a few of them are just stains left by ink. The second monk. The girl is about 14, with unsightly acne on her forehead and a robe that is brushed to the ground whenever she takes a step. Her black hair is tied into a humble ponytail. She observes your horse curiously, cocking her head to the side. Once she catches your look, she meets your eyes boldly, raising her chin as if to challenge you. Thy mount is free to help itself with hay and water. Wait outside. Thou can stay here for now. Leave before the night. The plague is nearby, the struggle ahead. While they indeed leave the room, their trust only goes so far. They observe you through the open door. The building is a single storeroom, filled with crates and barrels, a stack of firewood, and another one of bricks, a pile of straw, a chest, 2 wheelbarrows, and finally the racks. Shelves and tools, clothing and utensils. The light comes from the open gates, accompanied by the sharp draft. Tie up the horse. The lack of walls makes you feel exposed. A few pairs of eyes observe you from the pass above you. Others either climb to the very top or approach the unremarkable vegetable beds. Most of the dwellers wear hoods, and all of them wear similar worn robes. Chilling wind touches your neck. I'm not afraid of some wind. They keep their distance. The man greets you by raising his open palm, wrapped with bandages that disappear underneath his sleeve. His lips form something between a sneer and a smile. What brings thee here? Are you a go-between? The girl keeps an eye on your axe and occasionally glances your boot, the one that hides a knife. I'm Fox, the new Roadwarden. Good, well, the roads need their wardens, the folk need the roads. There are none behind this mountain, and we take care of the one that you've crossed. He, thou, does not need bother. Thy services are not required. He gestures for you to wait, but where's the man with the red beard? There's enough work here for the 2 of you. I'm staring, I was hoping to find him here. I'm sorry to disappoint thee. He rubs a liver spot on his hand, but he hasn't been here in months. We rarely have visitors different than our friends from Old Pagos. We don't invite the outside world, and we don't care much for it. Has Salchek in the Pelt of the North, on the southern road? If he's wounded, it's a safe shelter, I've heard. The girl scratches the ground with her boot, though it remains hidden underneath her robe. The man looks at her with amusement. Looks like Decima here is eager to return to her duties. I'm Ailey, but I'll not shake thy hand. One of us could carry the plague in our flesh. Who can know? Who can tell? What brings thee to our monastery? Is there nothing you can do about the plague that has beset Old Pagos? Well, his cough doesn't help with his hoarse throat. We don't understand what makes it grow. We put to use all the ingredients we found, brewed as many potions and mumps as we could. And they worked, for one afternoon. Then people once again fell ill. Who can tell where the sickness dwells? A powerful healer could get rid of it once and for all, with a single spell. But no follower of the Rite in the north carries such talents. Maybe it's time for someone to enter the village and look for this source. Thou thinkest? He smirks. The well isn't poisoned. The city brings fresh air. The crops have their regular color. The ibexes drop healthy feces. The tribe isn't dumb. No reason to lock you inside. I'm trying to learn more about local bandits. And asking the villages. He looks at the wounded entrance hall behind you. No group is going to bother us, for they've got no understanding of our pneuma and potions. What do you know about the necromancers in the north? Isn't that? I've heard I found them in the northwest. Head back to the crossroads in the north, then right into the bogs. There you'll find the White Marshes. The tribe used to forage and gather peat, but now it follows Orentius, their priest. Who knows? Maybe he's the reason why so many travelers have disappeared on the roads. Decima scratches the ground with her boot, humming a tune. Ailey tells her to shut up. He carries on with sudden anger. The story is as old as the Rite's tablets. Tribes look at their monsters and ask themselves, how can we use them? Their pride pushes them into their own fall. They hurt the innocent, then vanish into flames or awake as empty ones. Any thoughts on Orentius? He's never been here. He's locked in that hut, a prisoner of his own conscience, speaking to his tribe as to children. Could there be a darker joke? A necromancer who calls himself a prophet? As he snorts, Decima puts on a wide grin. What next? An emperor bathing in blood? No follower of the Rite could survive such a fall. What was the White Marshes like before the priest's arrival? Far from lovely. His smirk softens, his eyes grow worried. He's been struggling for years, with food, children, the beasts of the bogs, the traders. They were strangers to us, even in the old days when they used to join Old Pagos in their pagan feasts. He looks at Decima, who listens to his tale curiously. But then, the monks arrived, and that bridge went down with flames. When the missionaries reached the bogs during the years of war, there were already some wounds that could never be sealed, not even by a shared prayer. So your stance on necromancy in general? He pulls his fingers, gathering his thoughts. My stance? I don't need one. I trust the Rite. The dead makers must be weeded out. Their power brings only fogs. One may think the spellcasters can control the shells, but once they lose their breath, the dead are freed, searching for blood. Humans will never control the dead. How does one deal with the undead, or necromancers? Well. Is a single corpse, a squad, or an army? Thou needest to learn how shrewd the enemy is. Can it sense thy presence? Can it use a bow or spells? As long as thou art alone, it's always better to run. The older empty ones, even more so those that weren't awakened by fogs, get cunning and human-like, but a cruelty thou hast never seen. Any other questions? Let's see. Do you need any help? I'm looking for a job. It's just hands together and repeatedly taps fingers. After a few rests, he straightens up. No. Why can't I spend the night here? Want us to give you a chest and a weapon rack, too? Maybe feed my movements in our gardens, or ask us to bed with thou? It's not an end. We respect the hardships of one's journey, so we don't scare off strangers who cross the mountains. We don't let them wander about and take our time for granted. He looks at his bandaged hand, makes a fist, and opens it and stretches out his fingers. Maybe with old Pagos locked, our old rules too shall change. Would you like to barter? Not today, not before it's spring. Our order uses every bottle we make to help the sick from old Pagos as well to protect ourselves. Bring you dragon bones or something that doesn't grow in the mountains. He looks at the steel hourglass hanging from the wall. Taste, softness, tools of murder. We shall crave naught. One thing we lack are delicacies we can offer to the sick and weak. Thou will not find such a thing in this sad land. I was asked to look for a healing bush for this trader, Akikios. A brief mention of the dolmen is enough to spark an understanding, a gleam of the monk's eyes. I know of this place, even spent the night there once or twice, but if thou truly thinkest to hide stuff from our eyes, head to someone who cares about these paths. Try Foggy. He turns his head around, scratching his ear. The tavern keep of the northern crossroads. She might have heard something. Well, that's not very helpful. What time is it? I guess I'll head back here and see if we get fish. See if the fish trap any luck. I got some fish. Alright. Let's eat the fish. Can I cook them? Is it the fact that they're raw? Yeah, it's the fact they're raw, I guess. How do I cook them? Okay, let's travel. I guess we'll travel here. Maybe I can cook the fish. Any leftovers? Look, I was planning to give it to Boar. Let's just open a couple minutes prepare your meal. Here. Pour off a couple carrots and a cold cup of water. Everything you like to buy? Don't put it on the counter if you may. Let's just catch this. Yeah, I'm gonna try to sell it. Lakes, where's too far away? Fish legs where's too far away and they train with all the weaving, worms, and rods. Tell me two at once and I'll give you a coin. Ain't wasting all the firewood on just one. Deal. Alright. Can I sleep here? Let's go back here. Alright, take care. Yeah, I'm not gonna pay. I don't have any money. Sleep. On the rain, make briefly before you return to sleep. You think of your plans. Riding in the mud is difficult. Rough time, especially on the pavement. Take bringing it in. Wake up in the middle of almost every night. Before your second sleep comes, you spend an hour or two taking care of your belongings, shell and soul. It's just my muscles work out a bit. My health is in dire shape. Alright, I feel like I'm gonna end up dying very soon. The corridor leaves and gray rocks lead you to the gate. Large enough for a wagon held together by a wooden bar. The planks and rocks are covered with claw marks left by various monsters. They weren't able to damage the wall as much as the passage of time and the piercing rains. A large man covered in shadows is observing you from the roof tower. His voice is hard, hoarse, distrustful. You lost? I don't know your mug. Finish myself. Good time to get to know each other. Yeah, I've got naught but time. He chuckles weakly, leaning on the parapet. I heard no human voice in days. I'm armed, you know. He sticks out a loaded crossbow. And I'm no enemy, just on duty, guarding. You can hang around, but I've got no ale, no water. He leaves the tower. He's wearing a black canvas that's so ragged it can't be fastened anymore. It tells a story of claws, thorns, and impressive improvised repairs. The hole in the man's hemp pants reveals a scraped knee. It's hard to tell his age through his ostrich sleepy eyes. A short, unkempt beard and a bandage horizontally covering his ears and the spot that used to be his nose. There's clotted blood in his brown hair, and mud on his clothes, and brown neck. Despite all this, he's of a huge shell, with wide shoulders and thick legs. He crouches, places his crossbow on the wall, and gives you a curious look. You new to wardening? Pretty new. You chose a shit place then. This gate here? He lays his hand on a brick, as if to prove it exists. It's older than me. All there? He points behind him. Wilds and beasts. My tribe built this place to keep them away from us, and us from them. He scratches the bandage on his cheek. Name's Quintus, from Old Pagos. Been there? I have. They won't let you in? So you know, we used to send one soul here every morning and escort them back before nightfall. But some days ago, no one came for me. I spent a night here sneaking wolf shits almost got me. He picks up an almost empty water skin from behind a parapet and takes a sip. I went home by myself. Wanted to learn about the sick. I've been here ever since. Shouldn't you look for a real shelter? He trembles. His eyes widen. Someone has got to stay at the gate. The villagers in the east don't know about the illness. They may try crossing the woods, hit the closed gate, while fleeing some wolves and stuff. And also, I can't leave the gate open. It's like a dam for monsters. If all I can do is choose the way I die, this is it, with my duty fulfilled. I'm surprised you survived this long. Well, you can call it surviving. I call it potions. His chuckle makes him wince in pain. He puts a hand on his stomach and leans away. Beast took me for easy prey. The good monks from the mountains equipped our guards well. They're helping our ill. We used to brew all sorts of stuff. His hand moves to an earthenware bottle by his belt. He at least spent the nighttime at one of the gates, villages. He adjusts his jacket by shaking his shoulders, making the buckles jingle. I'm not a beggar, and the villages in the north won't help me for more than a day or two. I've got no dragon bones, just this little ibex. He bats his crossbow. Old Pegasus is by itself. We don't look for kind folks. He thinks for a moment. I'll just wait. I'll get back home once the plague's done. Or before winter. You look at his disfigured face. He may be a bit too proud, but he knows more about the locals than I do. That's the subtle. You understand, I'm sure. Wardens are the souls of duty. About this gate. Here, you see? Once a long twisted rope that hangs from an iron hook. I could climb down and remove the beam on the other side. You'll take down yours. You need at least 3 hours to get through the woods. He touches his stomach and takes a deep breath. I need you to give me out first. What do you want? Do I mean apples, nuts, maybe? 5 meals. Do you have time to hunt? Time? I gotta sting this gate. I can't keep people waiting while I track a deer. If I die, there'll be no keeper left. I'll go with you. I take the trophies you get me for roasting. But goblins and trolls can smell the burning. You can just forage your nuts and berries. I eat berries and sorrel every day, but this isn't real food. I gotta fight off all the snakes and badgers. Nuts are nowhere around. Too many squirrels and rats and boars. He licks his lips at the very thought. I found some acorns, but I'd never roasted them before, so they made me sick. Shoot some birds with your crossbow? Sure they land on the wall? I'm not much of a shot, really. I'd rather save my arrows for all the beasts and stuff. Try bring you some food. I mean, I don't know where I'm gonna get food. I'm barely able to feed myself. Heard about some bandits. Were they bothering you? Scratch the bandage on his cheek. I only know there's one band somewhere, but not around. I never saw them. Why are you afraid of Glossia? Straightens up and gives you a long look. I don't know who you're talking about. Ah, whatever. I guess let's go this way. I don't know. You're not used to the scent of the bogs. But you weren't expecting them to be so gentle. The humid air makes you think of smoked meat, even though you ride by a few rotting carcasses and animal droppings, just off as you cross tiny meadows of pink, yellow, and red flowers. The noises tell stories of never-ending wars between swarms of insects, frogs in their hideouts, snakes lurking among the purple grasses. Birds patrolling both the water and sky, and the saurians preparing to strike from beneath the surface. You can't separate the sounds of the living from those of the dying, if they're even different at all. You reach a boulder in the middle of the road, on the edge of a large pond. The road splits from here in two directions, but the only smoke you see is to the southeast. Alright, we'll go south. You can choose south or east. The leafless plants resemble tree roots rather than creepers, even though the dark green is swayed from side to side slightly. Saddle stops without a command, unwilling to approach the nightmare's gate. There's no other path in sight. Let's throw them with the creepers. You step among the muds and grasses, but some desperate creatures scrape this land clean of any wood they could eat. It takes you a few moments before you find any that doesn't fall apart under your touch. Once it hits the creepers, they bend backward swiftly, then try to reach you with a loud swish, getting a bit longer as they repeat this attempt a few times. You tell your mount to step away, but the plants don't chase after you. Same with the water. The dirty ponds are hard to see through. It takes a few minutes before you find a stick long enough to poke the water and reach its bottom. Even at the very bank, the water is as deep as your palfrey is tall. And it's quite possible that none of these conveniently spread paths appear here on their own. Could it be that the locals carried much of the soil by themselves, connecting the deeper bogs with other parts of the peninsula? Before you have time to dwell on it, you jump back, dodging the strike of this green saurian. You run away so quickly that it gives up in pursuit. Okay, what if we go this way? The road takes you to the edge of the woods. A few trees have found lucky scraps of soil towering above the water, while others, shorter and not as lush, have roots stuck in the pond. Some of the plants were felled with tools, so the route itself isn't so dark, while the few sunbeams getting through the weaker branches on your left are surrounded by darkness and swarms of insects. Help me! Help! The sun cries while it screams of pain, reaches from between the trees. A woman or a child. I dismount and grab my axe. Leaning towards the pond, it's cleaner than in the parts of the bog, allowing you to see the bottom. Parts of it are still more than knee deep, and the sulfuric odor makes you step away with a frown. The browse color can't hide all the bones and plant remains that are sticking out of the bed. Alright, I guess we're stripped naked. As you undo your boots and buckles, and hang your pants on the saddle, naked skin touch what you start to be more like slime. Nothing of the sort happens. Only your eyes and nose knows the difference between this place and a regular pond. Cold water makes you shiver. The voice doesn't stop. You gather your bravery and move forward, disturbing the sediment so much that it formed a cloud of mud after every step. You run into the trees. I follow the voice. It leads you deeper into the trees. Things coming from one of the larger plants, with the crown so dense you can barely see anything between the branches. Something lands on your back, and you plunge into the water, getting pinned down to the mud by massive paws. You're choking, hearing the slashes, and you get out of the water. You try to roll away while the creature is heavy, with large paws and strong legs, strong enough to knock it off yourself. You bounce from the ground and dash through the shallow water, smoothly getting back on your feet, still holding your blade. You gasp for air and look at the beast. The cat's legs are bent, ready to jump, wide and muscular. Its eyes, staring at you without a blink, are round and yellow, with pitch black irises in the center. It's waist high, with its chin hanging just above the water. In a jaw, they could bite off your limb in a heartbeat. It has short hair and whiskers, and a nose as big as your hand. Even without the dirt, it's almost black, with glimpses of yellow that form a rose-like pattern on its sides, and dots on its head. You can't see the creature's paws through the now clouded water. The cat lets out a growl, like a saw cutting a log. It's unscathed, confident, to take a defensive stance. When you hear the flapping of wings, it's already too late. Bird talons sink into your shoulder, and once you get distracted, the cat darts forward, reaching for your thighs. You evade its first strike, it then pushes your stomach with its huge paw, cutting through the armor. Before you can reach it with your blade, it's already out of your range. Your refined gambeson keeps you in one piece. The gray bird also flies away, now circling around you, gracefully avoiding the tree trunks and branches. It has a red tail and short, curved, vulture-like beak. It growls just like the cat did a moment ago. You notice that the human screams have disappeared. So it's 2 against 1. I'm too exhausted. This is going to be risky. The cat looks at your eyes and roars. It moves forward. You don't see any wounds on the shell. Its companion circles around you, looking for an opportunity to strike from above. Attack the bird. You wait for the bird to dive at you, then take a swing. You need time to get further away from the cat. The blade sends the halves of the raven-sized creature into the water, to the enjoyment of the local scavengers. A few gray and red feathers are drifting next to you. Raise axe and look at the cat. The cat roars toward his dead companion, then looks at your eyes. As it moves forward, you don't see any wounds on the shell. Try to stay safe, looking for an opportunity to make a side strike. You do your best to evade the cat's attack, then to strike it as it charges at you. It fails miserably. It managed to reach your stomach with its claws, slashing through your jacket. Struggling to push away my axe and again. Same thing. I guess we'll replay the encounter. Try to spot anyone. Alright, dismount, grab the axe. Alright, follow the voice. Out of the water, gasp for air. You disappeared and you notice a sudden noise of flapping wings coming straight at you. See if you take a swing. Okay, so I took care of that thing. Alright, we make fierce cuts. Well, I can't. My vitality is 0. I can't do anything with it. I'm too exhausted, and I don't know how to get back. I don't know how to get less exhausted. Give your all. Let the cat get close to you. Grab his heavy neck with your arm. Before his paws. Sharp axe sinks in the beast's back. Wash the blade in the water and follow the cat's movements. The cat looks at his dead companion without a second thought, leaps away. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Then. Without a second thought, leaps away, then partially swims crossing the pond with speed matching your palfrey's gallop. You're following, but after it reaches a tree count with just 2 jumps, then gets to another with a single breath, you wipe your forehead and turn away. Gasping, wet, and frustrated, you hobble back to the beaten path. Sawdust seems worried. You try to ease his soul with a few encouraging words, hoping he'll leave you alone for a minute. You can wash your clothes, but you need a washtub for it, not a stream. Oh. No, it's me dry clothes you can find, hoping your wet boots won't give you a cold. You ride along shallow waters on one side, and flooded trees on the other. You reach what seems like the end of the road. The turn south is already overgrown, most likely abandoned after it was devoured by the bog. As you look north, you see a wide clearing that with time has become a meadow, and a lonely hut at the end of an often-traveled path. At first, you ride down slightly, following the twisted trail. Your palfrey takes slow steps forward, fighting with the dense mud left by the recent rain. There's plenty of puddles around, as well as brown, gray, and purple grasses. All of them are too short for any lurking predators, and the few foxes you see far away don't pay you any attention. You pass by the fresh tracks of heavy, hoofed beasts, but spot no wild game in sight. Your ears can't free themselves from the birds, rodents, and dragonflies. along with the splashes of your soaked clothes slapping against your mount. You need to ride carefully. If Saddle's leg sinks in the mud, it may get broken. The farther north you ride, the shorter the grass gets. These vast peat fields, broader than the 2 or 3 villages placed side by side, are many years old. The turf bricks surrounding the solitary hut are still fresh, drying in the late summer light. The scent of this area is like that of no bog you've ever encountered. Instead of a sublime aroma of healthy soil, it's intense, sulphury, leaving an almost sour taste on your tongue. The short scarp is dripping with water, like a running sword of the earth, carved with spade and muscle. The house, made of birchwood, dried turf, and a blanket of soil, is a structure you're not too familiar with, but you imagine its interiors are much smaller than they appear to be. The walls are a few feet thick to keep in the warmth, and such roofs tend to get soggy, though they collapse after a decade or so. The only soul in sight is sitting on a bench, stuffing his mouth with fistfuls of green leaves he takes out of a small basket placed on his knees. I noose myself, and for now stay on the saddle. Still chewing, he mutters something in response, then shakes his hairy head, swallows, and puts the basket away. He stands up and takes a single step forward, approaching the edge of the scarp. His arms are entangled by green creepers, longer than he is tall. They rub against the ground after each step, and judging by the way they occasionally twitch, they're very much alive, even though you can't see where they originate from. Fox, the Roadwarden, he repeats, this time clearly. He moves his sealed lips left and right as if he's tasting your name. Still not sure if he should swallow it, or spit it out. Bathing in the bogs, I see. He mocks your wet clothes. Your face is familiar, but not this. He points to your mount, staring at it for a good minute. His voice is quiet and young, not older than 30. If you were standing next to each other, he'd be almost a head shorter than you. But for now, he towers over you. He has sunken cheeks and sloped shoulders, and while his gray one robe was never pretty, it's now close to being a rag, and his sandals reveal long toenails. Observe more closely. His eyes are brown and dark as the grass of this very bog. His left earring is made of a tusk and a feather, while the right one is an hourglass made of silver, though a broken wing makes it at all times tilted under its own weight. The leather straps on his wrists and ankles hold beads, pieces of amber, old game dice, and tiny skulls of birds and critters. Even more cords are hanging from his neck, some of them so long they reach his stomach. They carry countless amulets, some of them torn, dried, shabby, or fragmented, and you spot among them small boxes made of wood and bone, as well as leather pouches which hide even more secrets. Were you here before? Mayhap I dreamt you in my sleep. His voice and look are absent. If so, I'm Thyrsis, the turf warden. Is warden turf difficult? Yep. He looks at you in silence, then yawns loudly. His teeth are yellow, but don't seem to be neglected, at least from this far. Tea's hard, but not for tea's boring like the toad song. He sighs, you're off the main road, stranger. What for? Some plants are blocking the way to White Marshes. How about the road south from here? With a horse and no guide, you get swallowed in no time by the monsters in the mud. He raises his hands, waggling his fingers as if he's casting a curse. My green pets keep the troublemakers away. But I can make an exception for a warden, one willing to prove they bring gifts, not troubles. What's the toll? He reaches his basket and places it at the lower edge of the scarp, crouching right behind it. Inside, and is filled with wild leaves, flowers, and berries. Give me enough for a day or so. And I'll bend the vines for a day or so. You do so on your own. He straightens up, reaches into the basket, and for the next minute or so he munches on the greens. You live here by yourself? Yep, we're logging, peddling, guarding turf. My tribe dug out what they could this summer. I keep the dragons away from squashing the bricks. Your eyes turn west, following the man's raised finger, and you indeed notice a distant trail of massive three-fingered footprints, now turning into small puddles. They're as long as your torso, with pointy claws, one of which appears to be broken at the tip. As mentioned, did you choose to move to this field, or were you forced to do so? He reaches toward his chest, rubbing a small tusk nervously. One of us surely likes to ask questions, while the other's got work to do. Okay, fine. I can take a hint. Let's go here. Oh, it's getting late. The air is fresh, just as it was in the tavern. The light touches the road, and shrubs, blocked only by a single willow, wild and untrimmed. You're by a lake too large for you to see this other bank. The local soil isn't too fertile. There are only a few trees on the horizon, while the struggling bushes and grasses fight with layers of rocks. In the south you see uninviting hills, cut with tiresome roads. A gray rabbit is cleaning its fur near the brook, but the sound of hooves makes it hop toward the nearest shrub. Right after it sinks into the leaves, you hear it squeal, cut off quickly. Whatever its hunter was, leaves behind only the rustling of the thicket and a trail of blood. You wait for a long minute with a hand on your axe, but the creature doesn't return. You relax a bit, then turn toward the torn statue of a young woman. Such a monument would be better fit for a temple or a rich city folk's house. Here, without any cover, it's already losing shape from the rains and dust. Chunks of the face and hair have already broken off. I'm going through water like crazy and I still got a sore throat. It has detailed eyes and human-like proportions, and the clothes like fabric petrified by a spell. The statue carries the usual traveling equipment, a walking staff, a gambeson, simple pants now covered by leaves. Alright, I'm gonna go get some more water. I'll be back. I'm back. Alright, hang on. Alright, hydrate, you got it. I can also eat a mint, maybe that'll help. What about maybe someone left a valuable offering here? You dismount and approach the bushes covering the legs of the pedestal. You see some old wooden bowls as well as rocks. You try to push the leaves away, but their stems are thick and healthy, crowded with insects and spiderwebs. Until you remove the thicket, you won't be able to see if anything worth stealing. Thankfully, there are no thorns, and the touch of leaf doesn't make your fingers itchy. I'm gonna wash myself in the stream. And wash my shell, I guess. I don't think that did anything for me. I can go back here. But we're not gonna get any rest here. Let's sleep. We lose food, we lose... I don't think we're gonna do very well. Time for me to go. This feels like one of those games that there's a lot of nuances to it, and you have to play it like a lot of times just to figure out how to handle things. The valley is flanked by the hills. The west grasses and bushes blend into the horizon and turn into another part of the forest. The southern hills are gray and tall, with a fortress-like rock faces and a crown of conifers. The northern ones have countless sand-colored rocks, lumped together like piles of rubble and clay, bearing hardly any soil or weeds. The plants here are struggling. The grass is short and yellowish, sometimes dried out. The bushes have silver leaves, like many plants from sunny areas. The mushrooms can't hide in the shadows. But as you approach one, you see it's growing from the remains of a dead bird, while others are covering old branches and other plants. They won't last much longer. He's spotted any larger beasts around. Oh, we can forage. You have to squint to spot the first threatening creature. A runner is in the far east, close to the hills, though it completely ignores you, walking around and observing the grass, looking for its next prey. You don't have to worry about it for now. There are boot prints on the road as well as in the short grass, fresher than even on the western roads. Since many mushrooms were cut away with a knife, and just a few berries on the shrubs, you conclude it's a foraging spot for the people from the north. There doesn't seem to be much food left. There are almost no prints leading further south. It's forage. That saddle will keep itself busy while you walk around, looking for anything edible. It takes a fair bit of time. You don't plan to carry around raw mushrooms and bugs. The wild vegetables need to be washed before you put them in your bags. You finally found a few handfuls of plants, fruits, and nuts. Next time, however, it's not going to be easy. Especially since the runner, a bird both taller and wider than you, observes you carefully at first from a distance and circling around you. After about half an hour, you hear its piercing screech. As the creature runs at you, shaking a beak larger than your head, you throw everything in your sack and get into the saddle. The only tracks in sight belong to small critters. The cabin has no window, but a stubborn beast could easily burst in through the old thatch. The gust of wind doesn't move the door. The curious ibex observes you from the crag. It flees from your gaze. You tether the sawdust to the sporting beam, his curious eyes and tracking the crickets that jump among the grass blades. You stretch your limbs in armor and reach for your axe. So you drop first. You sneak through the door and crouch down. After maybe a minute, a quiet rattle comes from inside. Something similar to the cracking of knuckles. You peek inside and barely see a small part of the dusty room. A large spiderweb is spread among the knocked down furniture. Grab an axe and get inside. A spider looks at you from the center of the web. Its shell is larger than your head. And the thin legs are longer than your arms. Its countless hair blends in with the walls. They're brown, gray, and cream. What do you do? Let me think. Throw. Something else. Throw. Stool. Look. Attack. You rush forward and the spider skitters off, shaking the entire web. You fail to avoid its bit. The sticky ooze hits your eyes, covering them like a glued cloth. I swing my blade left and right without pause. Well, shoot it. Attack with my axe. Okay, the charged spider can't escape your confident swipe. It's like a flesh smacks the floor, it clicks in agony. You hear only your own heart and the chirping insects outside. Getting sweaty. Your eyelids can't even blink. You drop the axe on the floor and sit on the threshold blindly. Move gently bit by bit. Saliva clings tightly to your skin, but stretching it with your fingers helps. Eyelids are the worst part, but you're grateful for your reflexes. You should still have eyes. You get to see the light slowly within the shapes. The thing turns out to be gray and white. You should have a look around. The room's covered with a thick layer of dust. Anything the web could be risky. A single thread won't stop you, but a bunch of them could grapple you for good. I'll gather it. You know, people might want it. You bring a twig from outside and use it as a spool. You don't have much practice in wearing gloves makes the necessary gesture even more awkward. From time to time the silk breaks, but it shouldn't be a problem for a tailor. It's a material for stitching. It wouldn't be turned into a cloth anyway. You notice maybe a dozen defensive spiderlings. They flee toward the exit, with their speed limited by their tiny legs. They're smaller than a finger. Leave them alone. The creatures crawl over the threshold until they disappear among the grass blades. It could be the first time they've ever been touched by the sun. Let's search the building. Got some corals, so I can start shooting stuff. The chest has a few old water skins and edible stale rations. Among them, however, you find 2 corals for a crossbow. The bones have no obvious owner, but judging by their age and lack of skull or human-like hands, you doubt they could be woken by the fogs. The boots, rugged pants, and old stooky tunic Those scraps are cheap and hide no jewelry. Bowls and mugs are empty. I drag the spider carcass away and throw it into the woods. You put on your thick gloves, grab 4 spider legs at once. Corpse is heavy, so you drag it behind you. You reach the bushes at the edge of the road and lift up the entire creature. The more you shake it, the more distracting the twitches of its legs get. You send it into the tree trunk, it sinks into the thicket, causing a bit of rustle among the dwellers. I think we're done. Like, why can't I sleep there? I guess, you know, animals could get through and the horse won't be safe. The gentle road leads uphill, getting even more rocky and bright as the trees grow sparse. Just in case, your eyes run toward a few drier parts of the meadow. You instantly shout at Saddle to make haste. A pair of short-haired wolves, at least 20 members strong, is chasing after you. Their coats are a mixture of yellow, black, and white spots, as if someone threw mud and painted them. They move toward the road with a human-like speed, and you realize only some of them run straight at you. They're trying to cut through my path. If it wasn't for your palfrey, the beast would have already caught up with you. Your trap was perfectly set up, not leaving you any path of escape. Your terrified mount is disciplined enough to stay on the beaten path. Even though one of the big-eared wolves almost sinks his teeth in your mount's thigh, you manage to squeeze between the hunters. For the next few minutes, you do your best to get further away. While your gallop is indeed faster, the wolves easily shorten the distance by moving through the sparse forest. You cross a weird river bridge made of stone slab. The chase doesn't stop yet. There's something I could use here. You think about your sacks and bundles, but the pack won't wait for you to sort through things. The group is larger the further you go, as even more of its members previously hidden among the rocks and grasses now join the hunt, allowing their tired family members to slow down. You may be able to lose them after some time, but scaring or wounding some of them may force them to give up on their prey sooner. Crossbows ready. You reach for the drawn crossbow and bolt, then lock your sights on the closest creature. You wait until you learn its rhythm, then shoot once it's in midair. The arrow flies through the wolf's flesh, causing it to let out a pained cry and plunge to the ground. Its concerned allies howl with fear and anger. While a few of them try to keep up, many more stay behind and surround their pack member, protecting it from potential threats. After another few minutes, you're alone again, this time on the crossroads at the foot of the watchtower. Soto is tired but patient, more happy to survive than it is angry at your wanderlust. This you can hope the pack moves to a different place during the night. Rest and look around. Okay, I've reached the 4 major crossroads, so I don't know if that's progress. I got an achievement. While the hills are full of life, you don't hear anything coming from the watchtower. Its upper level lacks a wooden platform from which the guards could fire their crossbows, or drop stones on the opponents below. So this place is not meant to be used in combat, but rather as a shelter from claws and fangs. Such structures can be found in especially untamed parts of the Dragonwoods, used occasionally by travelers or patrolling squads since the end of the war. The cities can't find enough people and dragon bones to keep them in good shape. You see no footsteps, no lights, no fresh trash or a latrine. The birds are preening their feathers on top of the tower, while the branches of a nearby tree are swaying in the fierce cold wind. Approach the entrance. If necessary, you'll take a look at Sato. If necessary, you can bow its head and walk inside. This place should be a decent shelter for both of you. The planks are strong, heavy, well protected from rain and wind. And when you knock, they seem to be thick. While the door shakes as you push, it won't open. Defensive structures usually have a locking bar on the inner side. You also see a large keyhole. You walk around the tower, make sure there are no open windows or other entrances. It doesn't look like you can get in without destroying the door, and doing so is going to make a potential entryway for wild creatures. Look through the keyhole. Kneel down and take a peek. There's nothing in the hole, but the room is dark, with tiny bits of light passing through the crevices of the window. You see the shapes of wooden furniture, like tables, cask, and a ladder, but the only movement you notice belongs to the dust dancing in the sunbeams. Let's check the campfire spot. You see a shattered bowl, the remains of a meal from many years ago. However, the firewood and the lonely stool are not too old. You don't doubt that the watchtower seems less threatening to the wayfarers than the wilderness around it, even when it's locked. Oh yeah, I could have cooked there if I had the fish. Let me interesting month. Must be human-made cops. Only the smallest of the spruces are out of order, born of wild seeds. The largest trees are as tall as the tower itself, which surely doesn't help those who were meant to observe their surroundings. There are also some stumps, most of which used to belong to young saplings. These trees were likely meant to be sold to carpenters and coopers. They were left alone many years ago. In the copse you find wild fennel, and lettuce, thriving in the shadows. And there are pears and berries growing among nearby trees and shrubs. We gotta wait for them to get ripen. Little signpost. The planks and letters are damaged by decades of rains, frost, borers, and claws. You scratch off some of the moss. There are 3 planks on the signpost, each one pointing a different direction. The letters don't tell you anything. The plank on the top points both south and north. There are no pictures that would tell you anything more than that. The one beneath it points east. There's a word written in blue paint. The arrow here looks more like a magic wand. The bottom plank has a picture of a tall tower, surrounded by little houses, and points west. The wood is covered in red paint, suggesting danger. It's the gate. Setting up a firm wall in a place like this is a bit unusual. It goes on for no more than 40 feet until it connects with a natural rock face. Such a structure can be found near the city, acting as a checkpoint at which to stop any travelers to search their belongings or request a fee. But in the middle of nowhere? Deer and other animals used to running here with no hindrance. Must have been more annoyed. A risky investment. You touch the gate made of high-quality wood, previously soaked in oil, now mostly wiped off. It was left open and you don't see any wooden bar that would be used to lock it. You try to move the cold planks, buried in dried-out mud, but with no luck. It requires some wearying digging. Alright, I guess we travel. That's the dangerous one. Let's go east. The first part of the trail is narrow and overgrown. The steep crag of the south divides the lush forest in half. You barely recognize any shapes in the entanglement of grays, browns, and greens. The northern landscape, while similarly impenetrable, is the exact opposite. The meadow turns into barren hills and mountains, barely covered by grass and brushes. Maybe the riding ibexes of the plants people from the growing mountains can get through such a barrier. There are no plants here. The road leads you downhill to the edge of a lake. The clearing around the dwelling is quiet, with no crickets, flies, or even toads. The grass is not even knee-high. There are no signs of a wharf or boats. The wall wasn't coated and has already been bitten by winds and rains. Look for an entrance. Right next to the gate, a gargoyle, or a stone look-alike, kneels on a slab. It's dark purple, almost black, with yellow pointy teeth, though its half-open mouth has no tongue, and the creature doesn't move even an inch. The eyes have been replaced by crystals, red like currant juice. Alright, I'm gonna go brush my tail real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Down, alright. I knock on the gate. Finding no knock, use your fist. No response. You went home? Your voice is welcomed by the screeching of dozens of avian throats. You take off from behind the wall, heading toward the lake. At a few breaths, the eyes of the gargoyle grow brighter. What's all the ape shouts? You lost? Words are coming from the monster's mouth, though it remains still. Stand in front of me. I want to see your mug. The drawling voice belongs to a woman, but it's lined with unnatural creaking. Step closer. The eyes don't rotate nor blink, so who are you? I'm Fox, new Roadwarden. I hope you're having a great day. During the long pause, the glow of the gargoyle's eyes subside. Once they light up again, the voice isn't much softer. Well, good to see a new warden. You came to pick up some stuff? You're many days too early. Or do you even know who I am? I don't, I'm afraid. I'm just getting to know the realm. So you lost your way, and now you're wasting my time. Long pause. I'm Eudosia, the only enchanters you'll find in this land. And you're disturbing my work. I don't see people in the middle of the day. Return in the early morning or a few hours before dusk, if you have to. Best yet, don't bother me at all. The monster's eyes darken again. Your mount is ready to ride away. I guess we're done here. Let's go south, I guess. The neglected path barely finds any space among all the hills, trees, and streams. There's a deer on the ground, lying in a red puddle, surrounded by a small pack of creatures which notice your presence quickly. There's about 8 of them, with thick furs in shades of brown, gray, and black, and hairless faces with small eyes and large mouths, currently stained by the blood of their prey. Some of them move on all fours, while others comfortably stand on 2 feet. They are 2 to 3 heads shorter than you, but it's your mount which truly towers over them. You see how a couple of the beasts take a few steps back, grunting and glancing at one another. The one with the gray fur shouts, and others move toward the rocks and sticks which are piled on the road. They hold them awkwardly, and some struggle to maintain a straight posture, leaning on their new weapons for support. Then almost all of them spread to your left and right, blending with the shrubs loudly. Only 2 of the apes are standing still. This is probably going to be a mistake. Alright, do I have time for... Okay. You reach your weapon, unstrapping from the muddles and trying to soundproof for quarrel. It's not going to work. I didn't know you had to reload. I thought just assumed to reload your crossbow. Maybe the goblins know what's going on, or maybe they feel encouraged by your passiveness, but they jump forward a couple sides at once. You get stabbed in the back, literally. Turn around, seeing a goblin, as far as you can tell, was not part of the group surrounding the carcass. It's on a wooden spear, or rather a pointed stick, longer than the creature is tall. Your arm was able to reduce the impact, but you feel the pain from the hit. Until the linden was torn, you need to find someone able to fix it. I wonder how many of them still hiding in the trees. Can't win, I can't run away. Rush daughter forward. Your mount speeds up, even though it doesn't have enough space to enter a gallop. You have your weapon, but while you may have hundreds of hours of training behind you, hardly then will happen in the saddle. Do your best to focus. The younger goblin attempts to stop your horse. The strike it receives sends it to a nearby bush, screaming in pain. The Grey One, however, managed to grab your boot, and now trying to keep up with your speed, making one long leap after another. The first strong swing of your axe wasn't able to reach the target. The spear would do better in this scenario. Kick it off. Somehow I'm not dead. Swing your foot around, or at least you try, overwhelmed by the weight and muscles of the beast. Before you manage to land a hit, your leg is already in great pain. The beast, however, gets scared, lets go of the boot and leaps away, landing on the 2 hind limbs. It shouts after you, but stops its pursuit. Though it hurts, your leg is free. The road is clear. We're as fast as we can. A few more moments you hear the angry shouts as reaches, but soon after that, it's again only you and your mount. Time to see what we're going to find down the road. Let's see. A round pine tree blocks the road. For a wayfarer, even walking over the thin branch at the top, it's not much of an issue. Even Saddle, led on a rope, could walk around the stump. But a large wagon couldn't move onward in one piece, at least not without detaching the mules, unpacking all the wares, and moving everything by hand. SDs. Cutting a tree into pieces would take hours, even with proper tools. And you can't hope to move it with just the muscles that you and your mount have to offer. Let's look around. I think I know what happened here. I have second thoughts. Okay, let's see here. Look at the stump. You don't find any marks of a maul or paws. The top is hip-high and unnaturally smooth. You can comfortably sit down on it. In the trample grass, you find 2 sets of tracks to follow. There are no hoof prints. The first set is near the destroyed wagon. The wayfarer suddenly stopped. You can see where they made a sharp turn. The second trail is close to its tree stump. Most of the marks are left by flat, cheap boots, not suitable for long walks, but someone was wearing hard, wide heels, distorting the ground. Both trails avoid the eastern wilderness. They stick to the main road and lead you north. They could have belonged to 24 people, maybe more. You follow them for a bit, but lose them once there's no more mud and tree needles to find. Get the tree. The leaves are not completely dry. When you break one of the twigs, it still contains water. There are no signs of sickness you can recognize, and the termites and other bugs are still sparse. Beneath the trunk, there's no blood, no abandoned limbs. The planks are still firm, and there's no mustiness in the air. The vehicle needs it just to push to fall to pieces. Like a child's toy with nothing to keep the parts together. There are ways to construct a wagon with just wood, leather, and fiber, but you find the marks of hinges, braces, nails, and clamps, which are now all gone. The wheels are missing their steel rims. You find only one linen bag, empty and moist. You can't estimate how deep the tracks are. The ground was hard, so the cart's weight wasn't a significant factor. There are no berries left, only twigs. Fallen leaves and trampled grass. You notice a pointy arrow made by a human hand, with a head made of horn and black-orange fletching. You don't know what type of bird would have had such feathers. See no air marks around, not even on the wagon. The rocky wall isn't much of a challenge. The top of the hill is covered by short grass and sparse trees. There's a couple bushes with a good view of the road, just next to the remains of a campfire. Charred piece of wood, ash, bird bones, trampled grass, and a broken earthenware bottle. You follow the deepest track, leading to the edge of the soft grass. Someone jumped down, or at least stopped stepping on the grass. You know what happened here. Just got down to set up an ambush. I think it was attacked by Highland, but wait, there's no arrows. Journal. I don't know. Alright, so, let's look at the archive. Let's see. No, my food break is in like 45 minutes. I may stop a little bit early just because I'm getting a sore throat. But yeah, we'll get food in a little bit. Both trails avoid the eastern wilderness. Into a food break and I'm paying for OT. Let's see, pointy arrow. I'm thinking it was an ambush. I don't know why the wagon was abandoned. I don't know. I don't see anything. Let's see. Don't take a few steps to in deep water. The rocky bank smells fresh. It feels sound of frogs. Birds and nuggets about to quench your thirst. The beds of long kelp pulled by the flow of the river are crowded with fish and four-legged creatures you don't even recognize. Keep an eye on the land. There's no carcass in sight. No signs of shells that will be left nearby. How do I leave? It was definitely cut down. Like, again, can I just move on? It's not letting me leave. It's definitely cut down. I have no idea. Alright. We'll move on. A couple of stone slabs, none like the bridge you saw in the northeast, were turned into a hut-like shape. One of the ancient chapel was raised by the priest. It was now a church in the days of few soldiers and even fewer shelters. Is there music? I think my headphones turned off while I wasn't paying attention. Oh, there we go. I didn't notice for a while, because, anyway. Reached 9 churches in days of few soldiers and even fewer shelters. The home has proved to be officially durable, though conditions they offered were harsh. The entrance is barely wide enough to let you walk inside. Yeah, I couldn't find any potions. Oh, wait. I was looking for a dolmen. Is this it then? Meant to keep large beasts away, including your palfrey. You can't spend the night here. Just about look around. Enter the chapel. It means the light gets through the gas between the rocks, but you can hardly see anything. A torch will fill the place with smoke, but a candle will suffice. You wonder how many travelers sat on the cold rock, observing the entrance and fighting with their heavy eyelids. Light up a candle. You unpack the tinderbox from your saddles and place the flint and linen char-cloth in the narrow slab sticking out to the right of the entrance. Decades ago, before the southern invasion, people used fire strikers. We already read that part. We have left to keep like piece of heart's pie. It's best not to. Sadly, this light is not enough to let you examine the chamber. The candlelight may be weak, but I'm patient. I'll look for clues carefully. You touch your surroundings, bringing the candle closer whenever something catches your attention. Even though a part of the ground is covered with a single massive slab, there are sections free of any flooring. You see soil, small rocks, sand. In one spot you find the remains of charred wood. You notice this sticky soot on the walls. Parts of it cover black marks and pictures, possible letters. Look around. Approach the hourglass. It's the most common religious symbol of the city folk, adopted by the United Church, Orders of Truth, and the majority of fellowships. It's used in temples and during the funeral rites, but also to decorate codices or jewelry. The winged hourglass portray the ephemerality of life and the rigidity of time. When possible, they're made of steel, signifying the strength of humankind's determination and innovation. I'm not a pious soul. As I'm standing from the hourglass, I feel nothing. Sawdust leaning his phone, napping. We need to keep moving. Oh, we're back. We've made a circle. We successfully made a circle. Ah! Oh, wrong button. This one. That one. Clean up. Ah! Never was anything. I'm not a Pokemon! Can't catch me. I searched the entire rooms. I know hidden treasure left. It's that place to seek loot. Time, moisture, and damn boars devoured all of it. For a couple days, and all that's left is this iron I carried here. So when I get back there with some iron muscle, clear the class buildings. That's worth the time and risk. I don't know if I'm gonna. I need the health. Any leftovers? Okay, we got food. Okay, so we found a place for food. Fine, I'll spend some money. Basically, knows for sure the closer you get autumn, the less time you'll have for the beasts and nights to leave their lairs. Be that bad, but better be sure not to waste too many hours. I've been hit by lots of things. Hear thunders for you. Rise your feet and rub the sleep your eyes. The doors are opening. People are shouting orders and words of warning. As you open the window, you see what's behind the commotion. Something's on the other side of the wall trying to get through. And the guards are fighting it off with their torches, spears, and crossbows. I'll thank you for the pets. Thanks to the light, you see the large furry paws placed on top of the wall walk. As far as you can tell, the beast is but a single leap away from getting inside. I need to help them. If you look for your gamberzine blade, it's still a bit foggy in your thoughts, and once you find them, you struggle to get inside the jacket. As your habits kick in, you see the innkeeper right in front of you holding a candle. You're a guest. Stay here, he says without a shadow of hesitation. Our team has no time to worry about outsiders. Just after his words, you hear cheerful laughter from the wall. Judging by the way they point their fingers and lower their weapons, the beast is fleeing. Big stretch, you got it. Alright. Big stretch. And hydrate. Okay. Big stretch first. I'm standing up. Big stretch. Alright, and hydrate. I should have the people who needed my help all the time. Okay. We're doing pretty good. I got 1 health back. About Glossius band. I'm on it. Alright, what if we go... Okay, so we can go travel to here. Let's check for fish. Past the area where you can scout and have griffins, but the only thing left of them is a few petals of blood. That was wasted wilderness. Oh. I had to reset it. I'm sure. I guess we can go tell him. Yeah, we can go there. It's only 45 minutes. Bring sad news from old Pagos of visitors stricken by plague. He sighs and puts a muscled arm on his head, then asks you about the state of the village and the symptoms you know of. After a short conversation, he observes the fire. I was planning to get in touch with the stonecutters. Thank you for bringing me the news. Let's hope they can make it till spring. Okay. Let's go back here, and we'll check the fish trap again. Oh. Alright, we can't check. I should have left it. I thought I had to... I didn't realize I had to reset it. I thought I just took the fish out of it. I take him out and say, well, hello, stranger, what news you bring? Gossip for a bit. Even though Hallersdale is a large village, life here is slow. The curious locals gather around and take part in your conversation. Recently, a cart with wooden logs has collapsed. There's quite a mess in the main square. Yeah, he's not happy with me. I'm broke. If you take care of my own mount. That's guard looking for the mayor. Sad news from the villagers stricken by a plague. So close to us, a plague? How? She lifts her cape and calls the guard with a gesture. Tell the others to gather by 8 bell. Tells her, then looks back into your eyes. I'll pass them the news once we're done here. We have to close the gates, maybe keep strangers away. She starts to tap on her deer buckle. At least we can make some preparations thanks to you. Good wardening, she says with little conviction. We should also speak with our druids. They may have more questions for you. The guard returns and the mayor sends her away again. Warn Elpis, she must speak with Fox soon. Time. Alright, we'll go to the druids. This time the tall group gives you an encouraging nod. Even though he remains on a bench, he's huge. He would do well as a guard at City Ale House. I walk further south to the spot where the new building is being built. You approach the building site. The stone foundations are finished, and the timber frame is joined together with a set of intriguing cuts, like a large toy. One day, their walls will be whitewashed with limestone and turned into prestigious shelter, unlike the houses made of logs and boards. The other buildings are surrounded by grass, flowers, and herbs. The turmoil of village life is drowned out by the sound of the creek. The knocking of a hammer shatters the tranquility. The builders give you a curious look from the log they're cutting. I'll pass them and head to the druids. You're welcomed by 8 elders gathered in a semicircle, watching your steps closely. They're not as large as the workers, and their clothes are far from humble. Instead of hemp pants or tunics, they wear colorful robes and dresses made of wool. They vary in style and length and embellishment, separating them from the outfits of monks. You spot belts and cords, sandals and closed shoes. One person is bald, one has silver hair long enough to cover her back like a cape. Most of the druids are clean and breasted, though one is a bit of a sovereign with uncombed hair, stained clothes, and dusty feet. Also, unlike priests of Havloven, their hands are marked by scars, hard skin, old burns, and missing fingers. Still in silence, a woman with a staff steps forward. I take a close look at her. Her gray robe is decorated with a brown thread that portrays leaves, tree branches, and birds. She's over 50, but the youngest one of them all. Her back is straight, the gray hair only an inch long. She doesn't need a walking stick. Her weapon is smooth, longer than she is tall. Her blue eyes are vigilant and keenly observe your face, as if in search of venom in your nose and lips. Her lips are thin and small, forming into an austere line that shakes slightly, as she's on the brink of anger. On the brink of a burst of anger, she says nothing. I'm honored to meet you. She closes her eyes and tilts her head to the left. You listen to the creak, the hammer, and to your own breath. Honored? Pleased, or maybe curious. Her words are slow and soft as she's tasting them. Honored. She's standing like a statue. This word means nothing to us. A healthy soul cares nay for honor, for it belongs to humans and their weak thoughts. Honor can neither burn nor suffocate, for it is already as dead as a rock, waiting for a slingshot to throw it. She opens her eyes, and for a moment you see them not as blue, but rather as gray, like an autumn drizzle. She takes a step back. Your people would see your words as kind, but you are, and will be, an outsider. We'll listen, but you'll need changes. They think she should know about the plague that has fallen upon old Pagos. You tell her what you've learned at the village gate, making her lean on her staff, touching it with her cheek. We cannot help with the tragedy. The people of old Pagos are not our friends and will not risk our lives for theirs. She turns to the rest of her gathering. After their nods, she takes a deep breath. As she speaks, she looks at the ground. Travel south to the great healer who lives in a cave beyond the beholder, the spirit that guides through the swamps. Only he may find a way. Thanks, I'll see what he has to say. Two of the Jews whisper themselves in old speech, making sure you can't understand them. Looking for a healer. She has her head in a bit in absorption and silence. You will only find them here. My soul has its limits. I need to be there when an elder falls down the stairs, when a child gets fever, when a lumberjack cuts a thorn, when a need your dragon bones, not that I have any. Now, nay put a stranger above my neighbors. Why do you speak for the entire group? She steps away, tilting her staff toward the other druids, who look at you gently. There's no master among us. I have answers for our neighbors, and I know how to guide them, that's all. But now I'm trusted. I'm not above anyone, and I take upon myself the burdens of daily life from the shoulders of the elders. One day, my soul will get even cloudier, or even lost in madness, like my mother's before me. And my lips will be sealed in a better shell will take my place. You can't tell if her eyes show sadness or relief. They hope to start negotiations with the Merchants Guild. What are your thoughts? She looks toward your axe and clamps her hand over her staff with new strength. Renee wants to tell our village how to act, or how to think. If they decide to follow their mayor, we'll follow. She lowers her voice and her gaze is like a storm. When a bear enters your house, you do not scream at it, nor hold the door for it to leave. You wait, or throw it a fish. But if it heads to the bed of your child, you jump on its back, even if all you have are your teeth. For a single heartbeat, you see a red line in her eye. What's your stance on necromancy? She grabs her staff with both hands. The awoken spit onto the order of things, on time and nature. When held by human spells, they only grow, waiting for pneuma of corruption to cover their bones. Their will is simple, and will never be forgotten. They will hunt for those we care for, and they will drink their blood. Her face hides any emotion. Her voice is monotonous, but her fingers are getting pale. The curse of necromancy does not enter our gathering. Have you ever met Astarion? Nay. Saying that you'll wait for a more detailed answer, she taps her fingers on her staff. We had no reason to talk with him. Tell me about your faith. She tilts her head to the right and looks directly into your eyes. What do you want to know? What does it mean to be a druid? To be worthy of trust. Our elders have trust that we'll master our shells under their guidance, and use them to strengthen all of us. Our neighbors have to trust that we're worthy of their food, even if we do no work with our hands. The creatures need to trust that we deserve to enter the woods. She observes you for a bit, and her fingers tap on her staff. This trust would never be put in an outsider. I'd like to hear your teachings. Give away what we can, take only what you need. From your soul, from the soil, in the fellowship of humans. You leave behind only ashes. Accept it, and grow in peace. She ends with a kind smile. If you think to name much, you're right. If you think any soul has enough years to follow the path fully, your soul is already beset by thorns. I see. Wright's followers have their tablets. How about you? For a moment, you think she's not sure how to answer. But then you realize she's humming to herself silently. She raises her hand and gestures for you to look around. The world of our ancestors was made the same as the one we see. They had their truth. We have ours. Stories come from humans. The animals think nothing of them, yet prosper. How do you feel about other religions? We don't need to have a feel about them. If they let us live, we will strike first. Our preacher was here once, when I was but a teen. Her eyes get a bit more cloudy. I see that one could take the tablets and grow upon them, but the right burns the freedom of others, and their followers build their grey, dead temples from the skulls of those who do not listen. We request trust, not slavery. There are many rumors surrounding druids, some of them portrayed as rather cruel. Anyone ought to seek wisdom in every mouth they see. Her thin lips form a smirk, but her voice gets stronger. The butchers of the Unites are driven by fear. Confetti! Afraid to admit their old malice, to give up their dreams of power or comfort. They make us the monsters of their tales. They want their people to look away as they hunt us. We're a mirror of their weakness, the sun to their shadow. We're the proof that they do not have to rule. I think we're good. Do we need to talk to anybody? Elpis. No, we already talked to Elpis. Okay. Alright, we can go here. I know how to dress you. Healer. Nope. I bring news from Opegas. A terrible plague has fallen upon it. His eyes widen. What did you say? A plague? You tell him everything you've heard about the symptoms. He attentively observes your lips. Alright, bye, Corden. Alright, I will, I'll quick save here. And, we'll call it a day. We can switch. It's about time to stop anyway. Have a good night, Corden. We'll continue this in... Well, probably not 2 weeks, because, I'm thinking about doing the anniversary stream then. So, okay, can we leave? Oh. Let's go and save. It's been almost a month. Alright, we'll quit. Alright, I'm gonna go get some food.